What is going on, guys? It is Big Mike here. We are back today with another Slow Bros podcast, and today I'm here with Luda. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How about you, man?
I'm doing pretty great. Excited to get back into another episode. Last week's episode did super well on YouTube, and I'm hoping this one could do pretty well too. So let's get into it. We're gonna start it out with a little interview for you guys that don't know Luda very well. Introduce yourself.
My name's in real life. My name is Maxime. I go as by Luda in the video game community. I am 19 years old. I'm turning 20 in like 10 days. So yeah, I'm 19. I'm from France. Um, from La Ciotat, if anyone knows, it's beside Marseille. It's a little city. Yeah. I'm outside of zombies as of now because of COVID. I don't do much. Um, but I'm gonna get a job in like 20 days. I'm waiting for an interview. Um, before that, um, before all that, I used to work as a butcher. I liked it. Yeah, at school, I didn't do very well. I don't like school very much.
Hmm.
I'm more of a I'm more interested in things. I'm not very interested in school. I think it's super boring. I stopped after high school. I didn't go to college or whatever. So yeah, I just picked up a job. I made some money. Yeah. Right now, what I'm doing nowadays, I just play video games because of COVID. It's like super bad. COVID really has worsened everyone's life. I think, even for the most neat of the neat.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I am. I originally started zombies as a kid. Actually, I was like very young when World at War came out. Um, I played. I remember playing the campaign. I finished the campaign, and then I'm like, "Where the fuck am I?" Because when you finish the campaign, you go to Northern Torrent,
Oh,
and I was terrified, dude. That was so fucking traumatizing. I still remember, dude. I finished the campaign. I'm like so happy, like you take the flag to the spot in the campaign,
hmm.
and then after you have like a cutscene, and then the campaign ends. The campaign ends, and then you go straight to North, and you're like, what the fuck, dude?
Dude, I
And
never got to experience that. That sounds insane. Like you didn't know at all about zombies happening. This was the
no,
first.
no, I had no fucking
Oh,
idea.
that's
The,
crazy.
and then you have the cold, like it's super dark.
Hmm.
You have the M1911, it's super dark. You have the points on the bottom right. That is so traumatizing that I still remember. Like that was the point at the bottom right. I was like, "What the fuck?" and then I wait for like 25 seconds, and I see the zombie, and I'm like,
Oh, and the sounds on Knocked on World at War are creepy. Like,
as a kid, I'm like that. I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? What is happening?" Then I killed the zombie. War being terrified, dude. And
mm,
then the other zombies come by, and I go by like I did like 5 rounds and I died. Uh, dude, like the atmosphere and the surprise of it,
mm.
that shit made me super interested in zombies.
I
Just that alone.
I wish I
Just
got to experience that because I wasn't allowed to play like M-rated games when I was younger. I always wanted to. So I never owned any games until around the time when I think Infinite Warfare was out. That's when I ended up buying Black Ops 2. But I never got to own these games on launch, so I didn't experience the campaigns. I didn't experience zombies without knowing about it. I knew about all these things. So I can't imagine just playing the campaign, beating it, and then going to zombies for the first time, never knowing anything about zombies. That's amazing, dude.
yeah, experiencing that is a blessing, honestly. Like that was so sick. As a kid, you're just terrified. Like the atmosphere on that map is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like even nowadays, it's scary, honestly. Like you're in the middle of nowhere. There's like the big moon when you look outside,
Mm-hmm.
and then the zombies are like super slow to come by on the first round. Like they take like 5 years to come, and uh, as a first time player, you're like, what is going on? And then you see the zombie, and you're like, and then as a kid, I did 5 rounds. I didn't even want to play because I was so scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like the atmosphere is incredible on World of War. At that time, honestly, it was revolutionary. I've never seen that before. Like that's like the charm of zombies to me. Like the atmosphere, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, World at War really nails down that
Yeah,
atmosphere. Like with the
it's
new
very
games, it's not like that. On Cold War or Black Ops 4, you don't really get that feel of this atmosphere is crazy. But when you go onto something like Mob of the Dead, just hearing that round start music and hearing the zombies around me, or on Shadows of Evil on Black Ops 3, hearing that unique zombies music on there, like that atmosphere is so unique and it makes you want to play, it makes you interested, and it's really something that you don't see in a lot of other games.
it's really. I think companies need to realize that what gets you hooked, what gets you interested, what gets the nerd interested,
Hmm.
are the little things. I think they need to realize that more because imagine if like as a first timer, um, like when I came to World of War like on North, I just ponder. Like imagine if it was just like a big a big city, and then the zombies are instantly there. Like you're
Hmm.
just like, oh shit. But on North, you just spawn in the middle of nowhere. The atmosphere is so gritty. It's so dark. The
Hmm.
zombies take like 30 seconds to come by, and then you see the zombie. You're like, and but that doesn't happen anymore. Like
Yeah.
that is gone for good. Like that. You know when they say the first impression is like the most important thing.
Hmm.
The first impression of Narc was amazing. It's one of the best first impressions in video game history, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you're completely ignorant, it's amazing. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, like especially being ignorant and having no idea what to expect, just being
Yeah.
spawned there. And like you said, with the zombies being delayed, like you're probably standing there for 20 seconds wondering what's going on because you can't see the zombies. Then all of a sudden, from the distance, you hear like some moaning and like some creepy sounds. You hear footsteps. Maybe you hear like the boards being taken off of the barriers. And then,
The little sounds, the little sound cues.
mhm.
Everything matters in that moment because it's so like the suspense and the mysterious atmosphere.
Mhm.
Like everything mattered in the first round. Like that probably hooked so many people to zombies. I think I don't think it's talked about enough. Like Narc is really as for its time, it's a masterpiece. I think, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those times are long gone now. Yeah, as
Maybe one day we'll get another game with an atmosphere like that. I mean, just like being ignorant for World at War, not knowing what's gonna happen. Right now, we have such low expectations for zombies. What if the next zombies game we play, it's amazing and it has this amazing environment, and that might catch us by surprise too. It's definitely a hopeful and like optimistic way to look at it, and I don't think it's gonna happen, but if it does, that would be great. But we say that every single year, and I've been
yeah.
disappointed.
Actually, the first game that really tried that was World War Two. Uh, World War Two, the atmosphere was good, but it
Hmm.
wasn't as good as Narc as a World War. You know the little map, like the little house. You're in there.
Oh, Groston House.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, it doesn't have as much of an impact because you don't come there out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Um, but it's still pretty scary. Like imagine if you're like a little kid and you play that. Like the atmosphere of such a little environment is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Just such a little space. Maybe it being so small has an impact on it, but like the atmosphere is very. You can get behind it very easily. Like it's very easy to absorb it, you know. But when you look at other games, you're like, it's just not scary, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like all you want to do is play.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to look at the map, you know.
Yeah, I
On Ark, you look at the map, like you're just there, you know. It's scary as fuck. And then the map on World War Two, it has the same feeling, but not necessarily.
mm,
It's like the only game that tried to be like North, you know, on World War.
yeah, I really
So
enjoyed World War II. I haven't
yeah, I
put that
did.
many hours in, but the atmosphere part of it, it's really interesting. They have the jump scare zombies. I mean, it doesn't scare you every time, but it is something pretty unique. And the sounds, I thought the sounds were pretty good on World War II, like on the Final Reich, the launch map, not House. I did like House, but the Final Reich, I thought it was a beautiful map. It had a like a kind of gritty feeling, and it was dark. And it wasn't like a lot of other games like Black Ops 3. A lot of the maps are super bright and colorful and nice, but World War II was dark and gritty, and it was different. And it definitely did feel closer to something like World at War Knocked than maybe a map like Der Eisendrache. But
Yeah. So yeah. From how long have I been into zombies in the zombies community? I've been there like in the community. I've been there since 2016.
okay.
But uh, when I started zombies was obviously day one.
Hmm.
Uh, but in the community, before that, I was just like a multiplayer kid, right? So yeah, I just played that, and then in 2016, I actually the game that took me back was BO3 because like all of the big influencers was there. I was just watching YouTube, and then it gave me a resurgence to play zombies because of BO3 and the influencers. So I came back. I didn't like BO3. I was like, yeah, it's cool, but yeah, I don't know. Then I just came back to BO1 and I was like, yeah, this game is much better.
What brought you back to BO1? Because, like you're saying, you watched a lot of big content creators and nobody was really playing BO1 on YouTube. How did you find your way back to Black Ops 1 and get into this little community that we have here?
Uh, It's much more interesting. It's plain and simple. Like BO3 is um like the atmosphere is not good. Like come on, you spawn in a fucking tentacle map. Like what? Like fucking SOE. Like what is that? Like that map looks so ugly. Like
What? Oh, I loved SOE. I like the atmosphere on that map.
it's not scary. You have a fucking tentacle monster spawning out of nowhere. That's not zombies. You know, like that doesn't interest me.
Hmm.
And the game didn't feel as good as
Hmm.
BO1. The guns felt too strong in a way. So you know, at that time I'm a beginner, so like the guns felt too strong. The atmosphere wasn't as convincing. The high rounds were. I just watched high round videos. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty boring. So I just slowly and slowly came back to BO1 while playing BO3. Then I came back to B1 completely and I started playing the Reese and Verupt.
Okay.
Yeah, like BO3 didn't do it for me, I think. Yeah, but for like content, BO3 is a better game, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Gameplay is better on BO1, I would say. But yeah, BO3 is
yeah,
very expansive and it has a lot to offer just with all the maps and styles of playing. But just that raw BO1 zombie killing gameplay. It's not something that you get on Black Ops 3 with because you have such in-depth and complicated setups, and like sometimes you have to do like half the Easter egg just to get set up on a map and play for high rounds. While on Black Ops 1, most of the time it's you need to get your perks, you need to get the wonder weapon, you need to get points, and then
Yeah.
you have a fast strat on the early rounds, and then later on you move to something that's more consistent for the rest of the game. And I like that. It's just a pure zombies killing experience.
Yeah. On BO3, it really feels like you're a superhero. Like you have the gobble gums and shit. You know, like you have yeah. Uh, you really feel like you're superhuman. Like you are hunting the zombies, and the zombies are not hurting you.
Mm, yeah, that's an
On B
interesting way to put it. Yeah.
on BO1, like you're always scared because the guns are pretty weak.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you get the ray gun and the special weapon. But even that, even the ray gun is hard to use on BO1 because the splash damage is very large.
Mm-hmm.
On BO3, it's like a little dot. You know, it's like super easy to use it, and you don't even need to use it because the normal guns are so powerful.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, it's very easy to not. There's almost like no atmosphere in BO3. There's none, dude. Like on BO1, you really feel like you're the one being hunted on BO1 and War of War as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's one part of the atmosphere that they've lost. I think it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just probably couldn't handle the difficulty of the older games. Like, I don't expect to bring in new players to play BO1 compared to something like Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 seems a lot more accessible for people because of how powerful the guns are, because you have the AATs that will kill the whole game, and it just seems more it seems more appealing for your average player. But BO1 is definitely more difficult to get to those higher rounds, and somebody who's never played zombies before, I don't think they can just pick up their controller or keyboard and mouse and just go on in Black Ops 1. Like, you're going to get swiped twice on the early rounds and you're going to die. You're going to get jug and you're still probably going to die. You're going to shoot yourself with the ray gun. You're going to shoot yourself with the Mustang and Sally's. But I do think that if a casual player were to learn about BO1, watch some players, like get some help, I think they would truly enjoy that game a lot more than the newer games. I think there's a lot more replayability with it.
Yeah, there's sort of this delayed gratification
Mm.
in play with all the zombies games.
Mm-hmm.
With BO3, it's like you're instantly rewarded, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to work for anything. You just do step A into B, and then you're set up.
Mm-hmm.
On BO1, there's not really a setup. You just like hit the box pretty much and activate power. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you play the game by your own means. Like you play the game you want. On BO3, it's like you're too strong. Like you're too powerful. Like there's the setup is very. Once the setup starts, like the game is pretty much over. On BO1, there's many things to consider, right? Like you're not powerful. You're trying to survive actually. On BO3, you're just like killing zombies endlessly, and if you camp, you can't die. Like it's very yeah. BO1 has more. It's way more on the survival side, which is what is zombies. You know, that's what zombies is.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since the newer titles, yeah, you are the hunter for sure.
Yeah, the learning curve for Black Ops 1 is massive. Like I've been
Yeah,
playing this game. I've been playing BO1 and BO2 for about 3 years. I've been playing it more competitively within the last year, and I'm still not maybe a decent player, like maybe like a 4 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. Nothing super good. And I spend a solid like 3 to 5 hours every single day playing this game. I watch the best people at the game. I learn from the best people, and it's still hard. But I can guarantee you, if I hopped onto Black Ops 3 or Cold War, within about a week or two, maybe a month of grinding that, I could probably be within the top like 10% of players. I could get round 100s, round 200s, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just.
The thing with BO1 World War and BO2 is that there's complexity in simplicity. Like the games are very simple.
Mhm,
Like it's super easy to understand, right? Like anyone could run a strategy, but that doesn't mean that anyone can run it like properly.
mhm,
On BO3, a toddler can play a strat. Like all you need is dead wire and move your analog and shoot. Wow, you know, it's like and it's like the fastest. It's the fastest strategy. There's no on BO1. You need actual strategy to even survive to begin with,
mhm,
and you need another layer of strategy to even be efficient. On BO3, it's like step one, and the game's over. On BO1, it's like step one, then this, then that, then this. Then if that happens, then I need to do that. But on BO3, it's like, yeah,
yeah.
it's that game is awful. I think it's awful.
I don't know if I would say the game is awful. I think BO3 is I think it's a good game. It's not my favorite game, but I do think it has a lot to offer. But it is very repetitive, and it's a completely different experience than Black Ops 1. And one thing I was thinking of is the skill gap. The difference between an average player and a good player on Black Ops 1 is
Massive,
huge.
massive, yeah.
It's huge. But the difference between an average player and a good player on Black Ops 3, it isn't that big. Generally, it's just speed because pretty much anyone could get to high rounds on Black Ops 3, but the thing is getting to high rounds fast. That's a difference. But on Black Ops 1, I would say it's still difficult to get to high rounds while playing at an average speed. But playing fast, that's a completely different story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very unfortunate too because BO3 could have a big skill ceiling, right?
Hmm.
But there's around 255. Unfortunately, I think that's so unfortunate. That
Yeah.
that's the reason why I think this game is awful because there will always be this skill ceiling. It will never grow. On
Hmm.
B1, it will always grow. You can always get one run more than you think on B1. That's the beauty of the game. That like you can always survive even more if you're good enough. On BO3, you reach that level, it's over. You
Yeah.
can't improve.
I
It's
don't
like
like that at all. I don't like that at all. That's if there's one thing that I'm gonna pick out of BO3 in the competitive level, it's gotta be the round cap because like on most maps, playing fast does not matter at all. You can play the slowest ascension game versus the fastest ascension game, and you're still gonna get 255. You can literally play at the PhD slash Widow's Wine Lander and use AATs, and you can still get the same round as somebody that's playing a mix of power and spawn and using their AATs efficiently. And I don't like that because there's still a skill gap on BO3, but if you just look at the rounds, you're not going to see it, especially from the eyes of a casual player. If you look at ZWR and you see all these 255s, you're not going to know the difference. You're going to think they're all world record. But a competitive player looking at the 255s can see it like, oh, this guy was 1 hour faster. This guy was 2 hours faster, and he had bad RNG with monkeys or something. But,
yeah, it's very for a casual, it's not very uh Well, that depends, you know. But on like a high round perspective of the game, it's like very hard to see how the game is fun or impressive to look at. On BO1, it is only that man that got this round, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, damn. On BO3, you're like, oh, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
On BO1, you're like, oh shit, like I will need time. On BO3, it's not the same. Like there's a clear skill setting difference. Like it's super clear, even for nerd, like even for casual, right? Like the casual will see that the B1 record is more impressive because so many people got 255,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so unfortunate that this round cap exists because the casual will not be as interested. I think the casual is interested in like Easter eggs, little things, you know, the how cool the wonder weapon is, but once you start to pick up the game, you want to grow. On Beer Free, you can't grow.
Yeah, there's just no motivation to compete on BO3 because no matter how hard you compete on a 255 map, you're still going to get the same round as somebody else, you know. But
It's
255 SR,
so
like the speed run is satisfying. It's nice to get a 255 speed run, but it's just not as satisfying as seeing a like 246 versus a 250 and seeing like, oh, this 250 game was played better and it was played differently, and what can I do to improve on this 250 game to maybe get like a 252 or 253. It's just not there, and I assume that's why BO3 isn't as competitive because there's just not as much motivation. That you can't distinguish yourself from others as well as you could with a game that has a set reset time or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think we're already in the game rankings topic, but
yeah.
so
But originally, I was just like a little kid playing the game, and when I grew older, I was instantly interested in the high rounds.
mhm.
Like that was the most logical thing to do to me because the game is about rounds. That's like when you check the game files of Moon, the Easter egg says second mission, you know, like a secondary mission. The
Yeah.
first mission implies that is playing the game.
Mhm.
On BO3, you do the Easter egg and then all of a sudden the map ends. Like, all right, you know. So yeah, there was a clear intent back then from the truck developers to make high rounds the most relevant thing. But on BO3, they they don't care obviously it as the 5-5 cap, 255, the Easter eggs ending your game and stuff. They obviously didn't care as much. Things being so powerful just for casuals to go through and trivialize the challenge of going to through high rounds because the AATs are so strong, the wonder weapons being so strong. Um, so that's why I didn't take an interest in BO3. I just could see that the game was for casuals, pretty much. And then I went to BO1 for that reason.
Mhm. I think that I agree with you. I think BO3 is the priority on BO3 is Easter eggs and like story, that kind of stuff. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Um, Easter eggs offer a lot for casuals. Like it seems like people are still doing them to this day. And also, I know a lot of high rounders aren't into it, but I really enjoy Easter egg speedruns. I got into Easter egg speedruns for maybe about like 4 or 5 months last year. I was playing them every day instead of high rounds on Black Ops 3. And there's actually a lot there. There's a lot of complex things within the speedrun. There's a lot of things to learn, and there is really a big skill gap between the average Easter egg runners and the elite speedrunners, and there's an even bigger gap between the casual Easter egg players and the elite players. It's absurd, but
It is.
yeah, I think I might say I would rather do Easter egg speedruns on BO3 than high rounds on the game. I think they're
I
I
could
know
see that.
they're
I could see that.
shorter. Yeah, they're shorter and
Like,
everything, and it's not as satisfying getting like an Easter egg speedrun world record compared to like a 70-hour reset on Ascension world record, but uh, it's not as punishing as a high round because so you get bad RNG or you mess up, you restart like 10, 15 minutes into it and you can try again. And I don't know, I enjoy Easter eggs. Have you ever played them?
uh, I did the BO2 Origins one with friends,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I
Did
don't
you like
know.
it?
Nah, it's very. I don't know. Like
Tedious?
on BO2, like you do this trick and then your game ends.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that's not
Uh,
good. But they did change that in most of the BO3 maps because a lot of the BO3 maps, once you finish the Easter egg, you'll get like a perkaholic. You'll get all the perks or something. Or on Gorod Krovi, you get it's like a perma perkaholic. If you down, you get your perks back and you just hit the Wonder Fizz and you get another quick revive. So there's hmm?
that's so dumb.
It's very overpowered. Yeah. But I like the idea of having a reward. Not the like every time you down you get it back, but I think after completing the Easter egg having all the perks, I think that's a solid reward at least.
Yeah. I could see it for casual, right? But
Mhm.
yeah, BO3 is very. It's pretty hypocritical as a game.
What do you mean?
'Cause like if you do the Easter egg, like you get all the perks,
Mhm.
but how is the casual gonna use that? Like he doesn't care, right? Like he's like, oh, I got all the perks, so cool. But like for a high round player, like on Gold Crovy, it's actually viable to do Easter egg, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you get all the perks and you always get cure back and stuff. Um, then they tried to make AATs, which was obviously intended for both high round players and casuals.
Mhm.
But in the end, all it does is make the game super easy. Even with the intent of Heron players being in the equation, you know,
Mhm.
like they really tried to make the game as casual as possible. Even though you could see that they tried to make the game difficult, right? But it just doesn't happen because you're so overpowered with all the casual tools that you can use, right?
Yeah, I was watching one of my friends or one of my streamer friends playing Black Ops 3 and just the stuff that he was doing after he downed. He picked up Jug and basically could run through the whole map and just if there was ever a zombie in his way, he could shoot his dead wire and the zombie would get out of the way. If he was out of dead wire, he could use his rags and kill the zombies or he could use his in plain sight. And if I just downed and I only had jugged on BO1, I would be really scared. If I had a zombie in front of me, I would actually need to like think, what am I gonna do here? Are there zombies behind me? Are they on the other side? What should I do? How can I keep surviving while killing zombies? And it's just weird to see that you don't have to worry about zombies in front of you or getting trapped because you just have something that can get rid of them at any time.
It's like I said, you really feel like the hunter
Mm-hmm.
in these games. But yeah, it's unfortunate for us interested in the high rounds and challenge. I don't think we're gonna get that anymore, ever.
Yeah, we can always hope, but I don't think it's very
Uh,
likely. I really
no,
don't think it's very likely at all.
Cold War and BO3 were too big. Like if you make the same if you make the same successful decision, you're gonna get the same result over and over again.
Hmm.
Like they don't have to take a risk. They really don't. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I see they're changing Cold War a little bit. That's interesting. I think it's an interesting decision. I don't think the game is good by any means, but they're making some changes that are making the game slightly more difficult. Like, I don't think there's a health cap anymore. The health is increasing, and from what I heard, they nerfed the damage of the ray gun,
The,
and
the health cap is 120,000.
which is like what round?
Around 90 or something. I don't
90.
know.
Okay, so instead of round 40, the health cap's like 90 now. Okay. And you're not going to be able to kill zombies that well on that round anyway, I don't think. So, I
Not
mean,
is not as easily.
mhm,
Casuals are still gonna kill zombies with their guns because they buffed all the guns.
mhm.
But for like high rounds, it's much harder, I think. But it's still super easy because of all the tools you have. You can call the helicopter,
Mm,
infinite self revives,
yeah.
yada yada yada. The
And the
game that
rounds are so short too. Like what is it? Round 1024 on Cold War would be equivalent of like 199 on a normal zombies game, just with
yeah,
zombies count. That's ridiculous, dude. That's ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. Like I've played Firebase. Uh, I got one round 100,
Mhm.
and I got that like super fast. Like the rounds, they're like so fast. You're like, holy shit, is that like 5 SPH or something?
Yeah.
Like that shit is fast. Like the wonder weapon on that map is extremely OP.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a Poticon Servant or whatever it's called.
Yeah, not
It's
as
kind of
good, but it's I mean way more ammo. Well, it's infinite ammo because you can just buy it from the ammo box. But yeah, it was able to kill zombies forever.
in my opinion, it's better
It
because you have so much ammo.
Yeah, it's better, but it's not as good at it can't save your life. Like the
Yeah,
Apothicon, you can shoot it anywhere and your life is saved. But for
yeah,
killing zombies, the Ray K is definitely better.
yeah, yeah. In a vacuum, the Apoticon Servant is like the strongest gun ever.
Mm-hmm.
The ammo makes it like somewhat balanced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But on Cold War, you get like ammo off the ground and shit. It's like what? Like you get
Yeah.
infinite ammo, and then you can buy ammo for this OP gun.
Yeah. Ammo boxes. For me, if I had to narrow down the worst decisions in Cold War, like the worst mechanics, I'm gonna have to say ammo boxes, health cap, and infinite revives. Like I think without those things, the game would be somewhat better. But I still, even without those things, there would be no reason for me to ever go play Cold War when I have the option of Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, World at War, even BO4. Like, there would be no reason for me to pick Cold War over those games. So,
You know what's funny is
what?
that if you remove these three things
Mm hmm.
from the game, like the so-called like good players of Cold War,
Mm hmm.
dude, they lose those three things, they will not know what to do, dude.
Yeah, they would probably move to a different game. I think
Yeah,
that people that are good at Cold War, if they start to nerf stuff like that, they would move. And I mean, you've seen it with Pikachu. Do you know Pikachu?
yeah, yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Yeah, he was really good at Cold War. A lot of people saw him as only a Cold War player, but he's played other games. He has a 255 on Ascension, no jug. He has a pretty good knocked no jug, no gums game. And he's a solid player. And I think he probably got tired of Cold War and ended up moving to the other games. And at this point, I don't think he would have any reason to go back to Cold War. Like after playing Black Ops 3 a lot and Black Ops 1, like why would you ever go back to Cold War? What is bringing you back? Especially with these new changes that makes the game just like more tedious and boring. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what to say about these games, about Cold War. It's like whatever, I
yeah.
guess.
So we both agree Cold War is a bad game and BO1 is a good game. So when we're evaluating a map and or a game and ranking it, what criteria do you have when you're looking at a game? What makes a game good? What are you looking for in it?
Obviously, the most important part is the gameplay.
Hmm.
I don't think anyone will argue that. How the game plays is the most important thing. Obviously, I don't think that's obvious. Actually, that's more subjective. Uh, I think the most solid game for high rounds is BO1.
Hmm. I agree.
But you might think you might like other things. BO2 might attract you more than BO1 because it has more things, but it's not a more complex game.
Yes, and I think one another reason why BO1 is better is just it's it's not broken. Like Black Ops 2 is broken, I would say. There's a lot of errors. There's a lot of things that don't work in that game, and that's like BO1 is objectively the best high round game. There's no debate about it. It's like most maps, pretty much every map you can play to reset without worrying about any errors. The guns mostly work, the traps work. You don't have to patch a bunch of things just to like get through the rounds.
Yeah.
And
BO2 is like a wasteland at this point. Like the game is so broken.
mhm.
Like who coded this game, dude?
Yeah,
Who
it's
did that? It's like you have to patch you have to patch you have to code the game for them. Like
mhm.
what?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Pretty much every map has something wrong with it besides the survival maps. Like
Exactly.
Dire-Eyes, Dire-Eyes, what, this liquefier stops working at us after a certain point. Then Origins, like the ice staff doesn't work on certain rounds, and some rounds it makes frozen zombies. Buried, you get an error from using too many, like you get an error from using the things you're supposed to use to get to high rounds. Like, what is that about? I don't get it.
Like dude, like put all of that aside, right?
Hmm.
Like all the errors and all the bullshit. Put all of that aside, and I still think B1 is a better game. Like because on top of the errors, the strats on BO2, except a few, are very boring and easy, I would say.
Hmm.
Like on transit, what you do?
Run in circles and just use the jet gun glitch and like use your galvanuckles and then you just keep killing zombies running in circles like that.
It's survival maps, what do you do?
Like Mob of the Dead, you just run a trap loop the whole game. OnlyFans is different. I think OnlyFans is a great strategy, but from what we know, that's not viable. Buried, you just repetitively use that subsurface resonator. Diarize, I mean, you don't really get that much time on that map once you transition to the trample steam strat. The survival maps, it's shoot the ray gun trade, shoot the ray gun trade. Origins, though, I think Origins is probably. I don't enjoy Origins high rounds, but of all the maps, that's probably the most like unique. And there's a lot of different components to that map that make it slightly more interesting, I think. But yeah, like
Uh, well, one thing that's like recurring in BO2, except for like Origins, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Except for Origins, is that you only use this specific part of the map.
yeah, yeah,
On BO1, you use most of the map,
mm-hmm, yeah,
and you can just see that the maps are better designed in BO1 because there's usefulness in anything in BO1. Like that spawn control might be faster, that trap might be more useful. You can use that trap multiple times. You
mm-hmm,
can trade your gun to go faster, so you have to go to a different place. You have to make points. So you have to buy that thing all the time. So you have to go there. You know, on Black Ops One, you use you use the game m- way more than you use the game on BO2. I think. Like on BO2, you just use that certain little thing in the map, and then it's over. Like
yeah,
On Mob of the Dead, you get the tomahawk.
mm,
Like even with that, you can play the map. You know,
yeah,
it's like on Mob, like if you're in the cafeteria, it's like a lower space. It's not interesting to a casual.
yeah.
On BO1, the casual can see that you use most of the map.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. On BO2, I'm buried you like with your fucking resonator and you camp there and the casual was like, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
On BO1, the casual can get what he's watching. Is like, oh, he uses the entire map to advance through the rounds. On
Mm-hmm.
BO2, you just use this little minute thing, and it's very boring to look at. It's not interesting. The casual will not get hooked by that, I don't think.
Yeah, I feel that now, because like I'm playing Black Ops 1 Remix and I'm playing Black Ops 1 Remix on Doris. And basically, the whole game, all I've done is stay in the Thompson room and shoot my WAF. I've only had to trade once, and that was really quick because it increased box RNG. And just doing that over and over, the same thing in the same room, it's not very fun. Like, going and trading on Doris or running traps, all that stuff. It's interesting. It adds to it. You use the whole map, you use your brain, but just doing the same strategy over and over with no variation is not enjoyable and it's not replayable. So I think that's kind of similar to something like Buried, where there's no variation, where all you're doing is just using the resonators, going to get another one, putting it down, and doing that over and over. And Mob, where you're just running the same trap loop over and over. There's not a lot of variation. And on a map like Mob, you have to do that shit for over 100 hours. 100 hours of running a trap loop. It's just.
It's basically like the same as going insane.
Mhm.
It's the same. It's literally the same. Like on BO1, at least you have things to do. You have things to. You have to think. You know. On Mob, you're like you're just a robot doing the same shit over and over again.
Mhm.
It's not interesting. It's not.
Yeah, even the most boring BO1 map, I think the most boring BO1 map is probably Knocked. But I would say even on the most boring BO1 map, it's probably more enjoyable and more complex than a lot of the BO2 maps. Like at least with Knocked on BO1, you have to like shoot the Tommy gun in that room for a while, and then you have trades and you have to worry about like spawn zones and stuff like that. So, and you don't have jug or anything, so you got to be careful. Like at least there's something there. That's a lot more enjoyable in my opinion than running a trap loop the whole game. So it's just BO1. I think this is proving that like strategies are a huge thing that make a game good. Like when we're talking about criteria for a game being good, just strategies. Not necessarily like diversity with strategies, like having a lot of different ones, but just the strategies that are in a game, that they're interesting, that they're good, that they're replayable, that they use your brain, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like strategies different and like growth in a game is super important because
Mm,
that's what keeps the players playing.
yeah.
Like like you can't tell me that you will play that you can see yourself playing BO2 in the next 10 years.
No.
On B1 I could see myself playing in 10 years
Hmm.
because you're like that might have improved.
Yeah.
Like I come back in 10 years and I'm like, oh shit, did the boundaries change? Like it's very interesting, you know,
Hmm.
to know how the game evaluates, you know, like evolves. On BO2, that strat, like the strat that were like the strats that were found are most likely never gonna change.
Yeah. And there's just only you can only play it so fast. Like there's an SPH of the strat, and the variation between playing it fast and a little bit slower isn't going to be that much. But in Black Ops 1, I would say the difference between playing a trade strat on Doris well and playing it not well, it's huge, you know? And you can always improve. Even the best Doris players, they can improve. Like I would say Niraj is probably the fastest Doris player. He doesn't have like instas or 200 or anything, but I think he's probably the fastest or tied with like Slayer and Fleur. And he can get better. Like every game that he plays, he can improve and he is improving. And he finds new strategies all the time. Same thing with Slayer and Fleur. Just the amount of change that's happened between Fleur's 246 and Slayer's 250 is massive. And then there's still things that could be changed in Slayer's 250 game to push that even farther. And after that game, I'm sure somebody else is going to come and push that even farther and come up with new strats. It's just there's so much potential to these
That's the beauty
games.
of BO1. That's the
Mhm.
beauty of BO1. Like the little things matter the most.
Mhm. Yeah.
Really, really. Like the little things matter the most. It's
Mm.
like little things to change that might change everything. But on BO2 and BO3, like once you find that, it's over.
Mhm.
You can't improve it. Like you might can't like you might, but it's like it's not impactful. It doesn't change that much. The record might be the same because the error is so volatile.
Mhm.
Like the error on BO2 ruins the game. The 1255 cap on BO3 ruins the game. So you can't like little things won't matter in those games.
Mhm.
On BO1 because the game actually works and strategy actually matters. Little things change everything, and you can just see the game evolve every time. Like every day you see at least once one new thing happening on BO1. On BO2 and 3, it's always the same. It's so sad. Like BO1 is definitely the game with the best future.
Do you think if more people played BO2 that it would have potential to grow a lot more like BO1 does? Because there's not a lot of competition on BO2. And on BO1 there's a lot of people playing and learning new things. But I was wondering if like the same amount of people played BO2 at a high level, do you think we could find new things and improve that game, or is there just a cap with that compared to BO1?
Well, even well, of course the game can improve
Mhm.
new players and stuff. Every game can, right? It just depends on the rules and what happens in the game. Like, what if players reach 255 on BO2? It's also the round cap.
Really? There's a round cap on BO2?
Yeah,
I didn't know
255.
that.
So there will come a time where BO2 won't improve anymore,
Mm.
and BO1 will always improve because there's no round cap.
Yeah, it's
It,
BO2 is
it,
more like
it's just the nature of the game.
yeah, BO2 it's like avoiding the error. Like the way you play that game, it's playing more safe or conservative so you can avoid the error. Playing on BO1, it's like do every single thing as fast as you possibly can to improve. BO1, I mean BO2, you have to play a little bit scared. Like people can't play as fast as they want to on buried because of the error. And there's just maps where you can't do everything you want because you like Mob of the Dead. We think that they're playing OnlyFans, the fastest strat will cause an error. So you can only push that map so much, and you just have to play scared on that game instead of playing aggressively like on BO1. So I think that causes the game to have less potential for growth.
One thing that's actually pretty interesting on BO2 that I think is not talked about enough is how interesting actually I I think slow zombies are.
Like the walkers or
The walkers. Yeah. I think it's at first glance it looks like bad. Like you're like, why the zombies slow? But actually it might make the difference in the strategy.
explain.
Because like let's say on OnlyFans,
Hmm.
like the slow zombie, like there will come a point in that strategy where the slow zombies will change everything because the slow zombies they're just there, like you can't get them with the trap, so
Hmm.
you have to use the tomahawk, and the zombies might still be where they come, in the window, like
Uh,
in the window next to the trap.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Like there might be slow zombies there, and if you don't kill them, then you're just gonna have this certain amount of zombies to kill
Hmm.
because uh, you know So killing those zombies with the tomahawk might make the map faster,
So you
right?
think the walkers add like a
They add
variation?
they add a bit more strategy, um like killing them might make the map faster,
Hmm.
but not by much. But I just think that it's a small little detail that's pretty interesting. MBO2. Um, in a vacuum, it's really bad because who wants walkers, right? But in the the far future, I could see that being used,
Hmm.
like the walkers. Everything matters in the game, you know. I think that's actually pretty interesting. Like the game might improve because of the slow zombies.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that is interesting. Yeah, like in the future, if somebody found a way to like optimize killing of the slow zombies, like there could be a huge gain, even if it's killing an extra one or two zombies per like trap pull or anything over a whole game. That makes a massive difference, especially in a 100-hour game like Mob of the Dead. If you can kill two extra zombies per loop, that adds up. And
like why wouldn't you save your tomahawk to not kill the slow zombies?
I don't know.
Like the slow zombies are just there. They're like stagnant.
Hmm.
Right? Like you have, let's say you pull the trap, uh, and you get an inconvenient walker spawn. Like you have like four walkers
Hmm.
outside of the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Like it's better to save the tomahawk for them
Hmm.
and kill the horde behind you with the trap. It's small things like that that matter. You know?
Yeah, using the tomahawk. I mean, just that one thing, that one like special weapon. That thing makes a world of difference because you can kill what like 7 zombies every like 8 seconds or so. That's a lot. Like you can kill a horde of zombies in like a little bit over 3 tomahawk throws. And if you're doing that every 30 seconds, or if you're killing a horde every 30 seconds with that, that adds up so much. And just somebody being able to utilize the tomahawk compared to somebody who can't, I feel like that's a huge difference in a game. Like that's the difference between a 233 and a 234 running the same strat.
Yeah. Like to me, slow zombies are actually one of the best things in BO2 because they actually add survivability.
Hmm.
Like when you're running a strat
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you see like you're running empty stairs and all of a sudden you have slow zombies in the stairs.
Mm.
You have to think about that.
Yeah.
You have to think about it, and you have to. If they just stay there, then you have to kill them because if you don't kill them, the map will be slower.
Hmm.
That's small detail that's interesting. It's like imagine if all the zombies ran. How easy would OnlyFans be?
Yeah. And like trading on town, the hardest part about trading on town is that you're gonna have those walkers come at you. Like if you're at the bar in town, hitting the box upstairs, you're fine. You're running your little loop with the zombies hitting the box. Then all of a sudden, a walker or two starts coming in, and you can't run that loop because it might cause the zombies to split. You might get trapped, so you have to jump down and wait for the walkers to jump down. Then you can go back up. And same thing with doing the trades at double tap. If you have the walkers come, you have to be a little bit more careful, and you might have to modify the way you're hitting the box. And I think
It,
it adds to the map. It's
yeah,
annoying, but it is something that makes
it
the map
adds
more interesting.
it adds variety
Hmm.
to a long time high run player. It adds variety.
Hmm.
Like you go from B1 to BO2, you're like, holy shit, the slow zombies are annoying.
Hmm.
Like it changes everything. Just a small detail. Like that just proves how simplicity can be complex. Just two or three walkers change the entire map. Like to me, uh, Activision needs to make more changes that are small that might impact everything. That's what they're missing with BO3. That's what they're missing with Cold War, BO4, you name it. Like on BO1 is the small things that matter.
Mhm.
Right? It's the small details. It's not the same anymore. It never will be. That's so sad to me. Because in a game, like in any video game, like you look at the product and you're like, okay, I can do that. You know, like the game plays for you until you start to discover how the game actually plays. Right?
Mhm.
That doesn't happen anymore. On BO1 it and BO2, it will always happen because you have those small details. I think that's a thing in video games that is lost. Like they don't care about detail; they care about the product as a whole. They don't care about the little things. So
Yeah, I agree with you mostly because I think BO1 and BO2 have more little things than the new games, but I still think a game like BO3 has some little things that make big differences. Like let's say you're on Dreisendrach and you're playing the stair strategy. There's a difference if you shoot the turn zombies at the window on your right side compared to if you shoot them right in front of you. Because if you shoot them at the window, they can kill the zombies that aren't by you, and it's not going to be wasting kills that are already in front of you that you're already getting. Same thing with like running mule kick on Kino BO3 instead of running a different perk. The little thing of just having a third weapon, like a different AAT, it completely changes your game. Having a turn zombie going at it when you're in that M8 room on Kino, or shooting the floor on BO3 Kino in the M8 room. You can shoot through the floor with Deadwire and kill a couple zombies like every like 5-10 seconds or so while the trap is on. There's a bunch of little things like that. I don't think there's as many as a game like BO1 or BO2, but there still are a lot of little things like that that do make a difference in that. But Cold War,
sad
on the
thing.
other hand, I don't think so.
And the sad thing is that the little things don't matter
On oh
because
yeah, because it doesn't matter if you're playing faster, you're still gonna get that 255.
it's so sad, man. Like BO3 actually had potential. It
Hmm.
really did. But
Yeah,
it's
I guess
too sad.
yeah, yeah. There are a lot of little things on BO3. It's just, do they
It
matter
doesn't
in the
matter.
long run? No. Oh.
Uh, so yeah,
So we said strategies are a big thing that make a game good. The little
gameplay.
things in a
Yeah,
game, the gameplay, possibility for growth.
yeah.
For me, one thing that I think is overlooked a lot is movement, because the whole game is based off of movement and like
Movement is everything.
everything. Like the difference between BO1 and BO2 movement, it's for your average player, they're not going to notice much of a difference. But for me or for you or for any BO1 player, we all know that BO1 movement is way more smooth than BO2. BO2 feels like clunky. It's harder to chain your strafes. Like you feel like you get sprint locked a lot more. But that movement is amazing on BO1. And that, like, I'd rather play BO1 than BO2 just because of the movement if you gave me a choice. I know there's other factors, but
On BO1, it's small. Like it's very easy to me to pick up small details. Um, on BO1, when you play with a controller, you know, with the analog,
mm-hmm.
it feels smooth.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you are your character.
Mm,
On BO2 and 3, it's like you're on ice skates. I don't know how to. It just doesn't feel good. On BO1, when you play the character, it feels like you are playing him. You know,
mm-hmm.
it feels very smooth and that you are very engaged to the movement.
Mm-hmm.
On BO2 and 3, not so much. Especially with slide. Like on BO3 slide. What the fuck is that? Like slide? Eh, Slide jump, slide jump, slide jump. There's no like it's so bad. Like um the movement in BO1 is close to perfect, I think.
Yeah. It's pretty, if there is a perfect, it's got to be BO1 movement. But,
Yeah, exactly. The BO2 movement is pretty close. It just doesn't feel as good.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially if you play on like if you play on 120 FPS, for example, on BO2,
Hmm.
as opposed to 60. Like on 60, it feels normal, but if you play in 120, like the way you move changes. The way you jump like on 60, you jump like that.
Hmm.
You jump like that on 60. On 120, you jump like that.
Yeah, that's weird that the higher FPS is bad on BO2. I heard like 90 is pretty good on BO2.
Yeah.
Um,
But the best is 60.
okay. Okay. But yeah. And then
Uh,
BO1, like even BO1, you can change how your movement works. Like 125, you're gonna get long jumps. 250,
yeah,
you're gonna get high jumps. And yeah,
yeah. It's pretty interesting how the engine works actually.
mm, yeah, it's movement. Movement is something that a lot of people overlook, but it definitely can bring you back to a game. Annoying movement will make me stay away from a game. Like Cold War, without considering any other factors, I do not like the movement at all. Something like Infinite Warfare, I like the movement a lot. The movement on Infinite Warfare, although it's not very skillful, it's super easy to like strafe and stuff on that game. It's
It's so
smooth.
good. It feels good.
It feels really nice, yeah, and that's something that's
That's
important.
important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, with BO3 movement, I have mixed feelings. I don't like BO3 movement for high rounds, but I like BO3 movement for getting across the map. It's very easy and fast to get across the map, but it's not satisfying because it's not like you're just landing these strafes and you're like flying through this map actually using your game skill to be fast. No, everybody's going to run at the same speed on BO3. All you do is jump slide, jump slide, jump slide, jump slide, and you'll get to there. But
Yeah. On B1, you can even feel the skill gap
mhm. Just
with the
with
movement.
movement. Yeah, just with movement.
It can be the same with BO2 because you can do like strafes on die rise, I
Hmm.
guess. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like on BO1, you really feel that the player is better than you.
Hmm. I mean, you see movement a lot in a map like uh Mob of the Dead on OnlyFans. You're gonna see a lot of movement in a map like that. But then if you're playing Buried, you're probably not gonna see any movement skill on that. Or Town, it's gonna be less obvious because you're just hoarding up in a circle and you don't have to make all these decisions and strafes and fit through these gaps as much. But
Yeah.
yes.
So I would say gameplay is the most important first, and then movement.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I would put maps. I think maps are obviously like a staple. People will remember a game just for maps.
Yeah.
Like the casuals, everyone and their mothers remember Origins
Mm-hmm.
just because it's like impactful to you, you know. But for a high run player or a competitive player, everyone loves that one map, you know. Everyone loves that map for a specific reason. So maps are very important in zombies, especially how the map might be made for. Like you can see the strategy in the map. Like on BO1, you can see that it has potential. You
Mm-hmm.
can see that it can grow. On BO3, the maps are not very good. Like you barely can see improvement in the game.
Yeah, like the maps are cool in BO3. Like there's definitely some cool maps on BO3, but good, that's a different story cuz although the maps are cool, a lot of them consist of just staying in the same spot. Like it's a huge map, super expansive, but you're going to be in this one room the whole time and that's it. And you don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah, they really try to make the maps as big as possible, but in the end, you just only use one part, which is
Mhm.
a,
Yeah.
a shame. And the last time you actually use the entire map in a zombies map is the Reese.
Um
Because the Reese used the entire thing.
Yeah, Doris, you use the entire map. Well, all the survival maps you use the entire map, but they're not very big. Transit, you stay in the same spot. Die Rise, you use two different spots throughout the game, and I guess you trade for a while on Die Rise. So, like, I mean, you can use most of the map on Die Rise. Buried, no. Origins, kind of. Origins, kind of in certain
Yeah.
spots, and then Mob of the Dead, no, you're in the same spot. But yeah, I guess the last map where you really use the whole map, the whole game.
It
Uh,
was the,
yeah,
I
I
guess.
guess. Yeah, anything not Shadows of Evil. I'm just trying to think about Black Ops 3 because there's got to be something at least. I mean, some of the Zombies Chronicle maps, like the ones without Pack-a-Punch, you use the whole map. Like
Yeah.
Shinonuma and Verrucht, they're trap strats, so you use the whole map. But all the maps with Pack-a-Punch or AATs are really good wonder weapons. No. Black Ops 4, you camp. Cold War, you camp. Oh, Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare. I know it's not Treyarch, but like Rave in the Redwoods, you have to use the whole map because when you have ammo, you use the bow. Oh, you use all the bows in that like Rave area. Then when you run out of ammo, you have to go use the fish trap. And then you're going to alternate between these two depending on ammo. So you use a good amount of map on that, but
Actually, I think that map is actually pretty interesting.
hmm
It's
and
pretty, it's pretty good.
yeah, and there's new stuff that's been found too because Stealth, he got the world record on Rave.
Yeah.
But then after getting the world record, he found out that there's a way to get a lot more max ammos than he was getting. Like there's this game where it's you throw knives at like a body, and if you hit a certain amount of headshots or something like that, you'll get a max ammo. So basically, you can do that every so often, and that means that you can. Hmm?
Really? You play
Yeah,
mini Maximo?
yeah. So you can because you do that. That means you get to camp at the rave area more often. So and even in the rave area, there's like three different strats. Like depending on the bow, you do something slightly differently, and like being able to do that means that you can push the map more, you can play faster, and that strat is actually pretty difficult as well. So I mean, and not that many people have played Infinite Warfare, so I mean, people are finding stuff just now about it. It's pretty cool.
I've not seen the map recently,
Hmm.
like in recent years, but when the map first came out, I saw people doing strategies, and I thought it was actually pretty cool.
Hmm.
Same with what's the first map called?
Spaceland.
Space Sand, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I thought the strat was actually pretty clever
Hmm.
because you needed to actually have a specific timing for all the zombies to get shot by the thing.
Crocodile. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's actually pretty cool. Like, but unfortunately, the map is pretty bad because you only do one thing for yeah.
Yeah, you do one thing, but it's kind of like a dat strat a little bit. The most like the latest version of that strat is called Fast Croc, and it's a super difficult strategy. Although it's only in one area, it's a really difficult strat and it requires you to pay attention, make a lot of decisions and stuff. So I would say it's more comparable to something like dat strat or maybe a more difficult strat on 5 like 5.0, but yeah, it is in one part of the map, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and that's especially unfortunate because Spaceland's a pretty cool map. Like, uh, it's a it's a one of a kind map. I've never seen a zombies map like that. I mean, there's.
Very different.
Mhm,
That you can tell that they tried something very different, and
mhm.
you can always appreciate difference. You know. Um, yeah, but
So
Offer is a pretty boring game. Not gonna lie.
so with all that said, how would you rank the zombies games? We have the list right here. I'm pretty sure you have the document open. From worst to best, taking into account all the stuff we just talked about, how would you rank the zombies games?
Well, the easily like the worst is Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no debate about that. Like come on, like
Yeah,
the,
that's
the
like
game,
way down there, and then the rest are up here.
yeah, for real. Like the game is empty. Like that game is trash. It's really bad. But yeah, like it gets difficult from there. Um, I would say BO4.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment I saw Alpha and Omega, you know the map,
Yeah, the
the
Nuketown like remaster sort of thing.
the fastest strategy in that game is a joke. Like in that map is a fucking joke. Like all you do, you have the ballistic knives,
Mm-hmm.
you have electric cherry, and all you do is shoot the ballistic knife once,
Mm-hmm.
and then for some reason when you knife, the zombies die instantly.
And you just do that the whole game?
Yeah, like you camp in one spot where the zombies go up, and then you just knife.
Didn't they ban
You,
that
you
strategy?
knife. You knife. No, I don't think so. I don't
I
know.
I thought they banned it because I saw KXG playing that map recently, and he was standing on top of like the stairs in that, like, the backyard that you would be in for Nuketown, that backyard. He's like standing on top of the stairs on that side, and he was shooting a shotgun. He was shooting the Hellion, and he had that like circle around him with that perk, and he just shot the shotgun and shot the Hellion, and then would go buy shotgun ammo, and that was it. So I think that ballistic knife strategy is banned, but still it's very brain dead just sitting there and camping.
Yeah, like when I saw that strat, I was like, yeah, that game is bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
because that strategy can translate to any other strategy, and I was like, yeah, that shit is trash. But I'm glad that it's banned. I guess the game is somewhat more complex now.
No, they're all the strats are pretty much Hellion
Yeah,
camping. Pretty much all of them are Hellion camping. I think Blood of the Dead is like a mix of a trap strat and that, but most of the game is just facing the
yeah.
ground and shooting.
I don't really want to talk about BO4 anymore. Yeah, it's definitely after Cold War.
Mm,
Uh, After that, definitely Infinite Warfare.
okay.
Um, I haven't seen the game much, but from what I picked up, Rev the Wild Woods is obviously the best map in the game.
Hmm.
Uh, the rest of the maps were like, are they even maps? This fucking like
I
like
haven't seen much. They look cool, but I haven't seen the strategies. Like the maps, they seem unique, and I like the concept of them, but I haven't seen how they play, so I don't have much of an opinion on those. Just Spaceland and Rave.
I don't have an opinion on those, but I've seen them. I don't know, they don't look interesting whatsoever.
Hmm.
But in the Redwoods and Spaceland are actually pretty nice. Like Rave is actually pretty damn interesting
Hmm.
because you have multiple wonder weapons. You have actual traps that are useful.
Hmm.
The strategy involved with the map to pick up a max ammo, like you said, I don't know. That might actually like ruin the appeal of the map because of the max ammo, to be honest. But um, yeah, the map is pretty interesting, I guess. Spaceland is pretty, yeah, like you said with the crocodile. It's pretty boring. Eh, that game is like alright, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty, yeah, it's pretty, uh, whatever.
All
It's
right.
better than BO4 at least.
Hmm. Okay. So what's next? What's after Infinite Warfare for you?
Oh fuck.
I mean, if you can't pick exactly, I mean, you could just say like, well, we know Black Ops 1 is going to be your top one, right? Or
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So
But it's so ah,
that
like
leaves
like
World at War, BO2 and BO3.
it's definitely BO3 or World War.
Oh, and World War 2. World War 2. I forgot about that.
Oh fuck yeah, World War Two. I guess it's easier to pick now.
Hmm.
I'm going to say World War.
Okay.
Um, like, that game is barely a game, dude. Like
Yeah.
it barely works.
It's the foundation of zombies, but that doesn't mean it's a good game. Like, I'm
The most
glad,
important zombies,
but it's not
but
good.
it's trash.
Yeah.
Like the thing yeah, I'm gonna go on that topic later. I'm gonna, but yeah. What I War is definitely it's a good like beginner's game,
Hmm.
but for like a high run player, it's so shit.
Yeah. For a casual play, like if you're playing to like 30 or something just with your friends, World at War is great. But when you're doing the same thing with 24 zombies per round every round, it's so repetitive and just I don't see how anybody could enjoy it. I'm pretty sure like Krups had like just felt like shit after playing that game so much and just took a break from zombies altogether because of it.
Dude, like crops is insane, dude.
He's
Uh,
dedicated.
Dedicated to say the least. What the fuck? Uh, uh, yeah, World of War is a shit game, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But it's an interesting game because you have all the custom maps and it's the game that started zombies.
Hmm.
It's the game that introduced the recent Verruct. Yeah, it's not a good game, but it's the most important one, and it's definitely better than Infinite Warfare and all the other games because those games are like you can see strategy in World of War for sure.
Hmm. Okay. So now we have just is it just BO2 and BO3 and World War II now? Okay.
B1, BO2, BO3, and War 2. Next is definitely BO3.
Okay.
Uh, at first glance, it's like an awesome game, like an awesome game.
Hmm.
The casuals love it. It's probably their favorite game. It's very casual friendly. The maps are pretty fun, I guess. Um, but when it comes to high rounds, it's not good. Uh, but like for a casual audience, it's the best game, probably.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Uh, the maps are. I like that they tried something different with the 80s. They took a risk. Uh, there is difficulty in the game, like Giant, for example, is pretty hard. Zetsubo is pretty
Hmm.
hard.
Zetsubo's probably the hardest. Well, besides the no pap maps, Zetsubo's probably the hardest.
There is difficulty in the game. Um, Once again, simplicity can be complex. Uh, BO3 can be pretty damn difficult at times because you can get insta killed.
Hmm.
Uh, you need somewhat of a strategy with your special weapons, like the special equipments, whatever they're called.
Hmm. Yeah, special weapons.
Yeah, you can have strategy with that. It's just not as good as the others. It's a very awesome casual game. For competitive players, it's not so much.
Understandable. Okay. So let me guess. All right. Ooh, actually, I don't know where I know you have BO1 at the top, but what about World War II and BO2? Which one is
That
better?
that depends of the version of World War II.
The version. What do you mean?
The release version was actually very hard.
Hmm.
Like, but ever since they've added OP weapons and stuff that trivialize the strategies. So if you take release World War II,
Hmm.
it's as good as BO2
Okay.
because the maps were actually awesome. There was actual strategies. The small things mattered.
Hmm.
There was ammo management. There was movement was important. The zombies that drop the bombs when you kill them. You can use the bombs to kill the zombies.
Hmm.
The game is very interesting and it's good. It feels good. The weapons feel good. The maps look good. The strategies are good. But since the latest updates, they've added new weapons and stuff. I'm not too sure how it works. but apparently the game is way worse. So I think it's below BO2 for sure.
Okay. All right. So overall, that list was Cold War, BO4, IW, World at War. What am I missing? BO3, World War II, BO2, BO1.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting list. That's an interesting list. Mine is a little bit different, I think. For me, the worst game has got to be Cold War. I've played that game for a week and never touched it again.
Yeah.
Just repetitive, boring, awful. If anybody's ever watched one of my podcasts, I shit on it every episode. Then after that, I'm gonna go with BO4. I think BO4 maps were cool, but I don't think the mechanics were good in that game at all because the health cap, because having PhD and some of the maps with like infinite ammo and stuff, like the Dead of the Night, and how complicated the setups were. I'm not a huge fan of that game. Then after Black Ops 4, um, I think I'm gonna go with World at War. I do like going playing World at War every so often, but I could never see myself playing that game for more than 5 hours at a time. It's extremely repetitive with the first three maps, and then Doris is just completely broken. And just the mechanics, how the zombies stick to you, and sometimes they get stuck under the map, all that kind of stuff. The spawns are messed up, so that's why I'm going to put it there. Then after that, I'm going to have to go with World War II. I don't have much experience on World War II. I've played Final Reich, and I've seen a little bit of that map with the fog, and I think the game is cool. I like the atmosphere, I like the environment, I like how it feels, but I haven't played the game enough to like fully appreciate it. I've seen Furret play Final Reich high rounds. I think it looks interesting, and I think that game has a lot of potential. And I once I play it more, I think maybe my opinion will change. But I guess we're gonna have to see. And then I think I'm gonna have to go with BO2. Um, BO2 used to be my favorite game. BO2 was my favorite game for a long time. Uh, I loved Origins. I just loved the environment on Origins. I always felt good just like launching that map, hearing the music, hearing the robot footsteps and stuff. Um, so I like BO2, but nothing about it makes me want to come back to it that much. Every time I boot, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, every time I boot it up, I play it for a little bit. I generally get bored pretty quick, and there's nothing that makes me want to come back to it. Um, and then I'm gonna say Infinite Warfare. I really like Rave and Spaceland. I haven't played it much, but I have watched it. I think that Rave in the Redwoods has really interesting strategy, a really fast strat with wonder weapons, and then a slower strat that involves the fist trap. The map is beautiful, really different experience. The movement on the game is super smooth, um, and it's different, and I like it. I like that. And Spaceland is difficult, although it's a strat in the same area. It is difficult, so there's a lot of decision making. I like that. And then my last two, um, Black Ops 3. I like the game. I do. I don't like the 255 round cap, but I'm not at the level where I would ever play that far. I know I played Ascension, but that's an exception. That map is brain dead easy. But I think BO3 is a really fun game to like round 100. I like the fact that there's so many maps. So, I mean, depending on what mood you're in, you can play any of those maps. Also, you could do Easter eggs or high rounds or round speed runs. I like that there's that there. Although it's not nearly as skillful as Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2, I still think there's a lot to offer. There's a lot of little things if you're going for 100 or less, not 255 necessarily. But yeah, I like the game.
It's
Especially yeah. And especially Easter egg speedruns. I know a lot of high rounders hate Easter egg speedruns, think they're very stupid, but I really enjoyed myself playing that on that game. And I think that's why it's second for me because like I really like Easter egg speedruns and I kind of like the high round. So both of those together, it adds up.
BO3 is it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting game that is very unfortunately ruined by 255 cap. Like
Mm-hmm.
the game outdoes the cap. Like the game is is too fast. It's too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
The tools we have are too strong. So it would be like one of the best updates ever if they um, remove the cap because there would actually be more strategy, more things, more reason to do that thing, more reason to do that small detail that
Mm-hmm.
matters. Uh, with that cap, that game is with
It's
that
just
cap, no potential.
yeah, it's not punishing to make a mistake. Like if you make a mistake and you're slow, like it's not punishing. You can still get your 255. If you decide to play the slow strat, you can still get the 255. While in BO1, if you don't play the map to your best ability and get good RNG and not make any mistakes, you can get the world record there. But
Uh, yeah, it's so unfortunate that the round cap is a thing.
have
Honestly,
have you heard that on PC like you can just change one line of code and you can get past 255?
what?
Yeah, on VO3, all you have to do is you can change one line of code in the game and you can go past 255. Um, so
Are they fucking idiots out here or something? Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's so easy. So,
wait,
um,
what's that? Wait, nah, don't tell me that's on purpose though.
I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but I think that they should just split the boards between PC and console. Console can obviously only go up to 255, and I think PC you should just be able to go past. And I mean that would add a lot to the game. That would make it a lot more competitive and stuff. So I hope some people start to play it like that, but I don't think we're gonna see any change for a while because most BO3 players are on console and I can't see them being super happy with the potential of their records being beaten by people who just unlock the cap. But
Yeah.
yeah, and my favorite game, as expected,
The one, yeah.
Black Ops 1. Just every single aspect of the game I love. I love the movement. I love how the zombies behave. I think that there's a lot of maps that are interesting to play. There's so many different types of strategies. We have trade strats, trap strats, like hybrid strats. Like Doris trade strat is a combination of trapping and trading and spamming your waff. The wonder weapons I'm a fan of. I like the thunder gun a lot. I'm a thunder gun kind of guy. I think the waff is cool, but I like them. And I think there's just so much replayability with the game because the opportunities for growth, because the game has such a big skill gap. It just keeps bringing you back. You want to get better. You want to get faster. You want to get to a higher round. You want to reach those goals like instas, 200, reset, world record. There's just so many things to go for. And that's why I think Black Ops 1 is the greatest zombies game of all time.
Uh, from a competitive perspective, I don't think you can really argue that.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I don't think you can. Like, it's the most interesting game. Even by the fact that once you reach 163, the zombies become one shot. Like just that probably attracted a lot of people.
Mm,
That's actually interesting,
yeah.
and it adds more depth to the maps.
Yeah.
Like this is it's like this game was truly made for rounds. You can just see it in the maps.
And even though they didn't code it like properly and like There's instas. Like it adds to the map, like you're saying. Like they didn't intend to have insta kill rounds, but having instas makes it so you have a completely new strat that you get to do starting on 163, and it's way less monotonous compared to like Black Ops 2, where you're just doing the same strat the whole game. On Black Ops 1, you get to mix in insta kill rounds and do a different strat. And because you have instas, it might change the way you play the game because you're going to get a max ammo like most of the rounds that you have instas. And then there's also the ammo rounds usually on like maps like Ascension and Doris that speed it up even more. And it's just, there's so much.
You have a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to expect in the game,
Mm-hmm.
right? On BO3, you don't expect really anything, right?
Yeah. There's no changes.
Same with
It's,
BO2, we don't really expect anything. It's like on BO1, it's like the game was truly made for irons.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
BO2, not so much. BO2 to me feels like a hybrid of irons and appealing to the casual player because
Yes.
of the Easter eggs, origins,
Mm-hmm.
the cool little details with like the Brundergat being looking so cool and stuff, like the four staffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's very casual, like nerd appealing, that game.
Mm-hmm.
BO1 is just like, do you want a challenge? If you do want that challenge, then come play that game. Yeah, it's definitely the best competitive game. I don't think there's a debate on that. It's too good.
It's a work of art. It's an amazing game. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up our game rankings topic. So that'll bring us into our next topic, which is map rankings. So map rankings and game rankings kind of go hand in hand. Stuff that you like about the game may be really similar to stuff you like about a map. So first, what I want to get into is like the criteria for a good map. For me, what makes a map good? The primary thing is enjoyment. I'm not going to play a map if I don't enjoy it. And I know it's a very like broad thing to say, enjoyment, like what do I enjoy about the map? But just there's just something about certain maps that I enjoy more than others. It's a very subjective thing. It's hard to put it into words. It's not very concrete. But another thing I really like about certain zombies maps is the ability to progress and improve. Like the reason I like Black Ops 1 so much is the same thing. The ability to progress and improve. Like a map like Ascension. I've been playing that map forever. I have a lot of hours on the map. And there's just so much room for improvement in that game. There's a bunch of little things like knowing what to do in certain scenarios while running the pack punch strat. Like if the zombies behave in this way, what do you do? Or if you're trading and you get a respawner, what do you do? How do you still hit the box fast? When to trade, when to trap, all those things. There's just so many possibilities. And I still haven't even gotten instas on the map, and there's so much more to learn. So like that's what keeps bringing me back, the knowing that I can improve and that I have these goals I want to achieve. But Luda, what makes a map good for you?
Um, it's at first glance that you can see that the map is interesting and replayable. To me, that's like the most important thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you could see yourself in the future playing that map. I think that's the most important thing. Uh, but for a casual, that's a completely different topic.
Mm.
But for like a competitive player, um, as myself, I think the best map is of all the maps is probably the Risbio one. I think you can improve on it too much. You can do too much. The map ties in perfectly with the game system. That is just, it's like the map to me, it's almost a masterpiece. That map. I don't think anything I don't think any map really compares to it. There's too much. Like the map just ties in perfectly with the game. It's just too good. So I think the Reese is definitely like the best map in all of zombies for a competitive player.
Hmm.
But obviously that's subjective. But to me, objectively, is the map with the most that can improve the most.
Okay.
So and with the most replayability to me as a competitive player.
Yeah, I think the replayability and the ability to improve, they go hand in hand. Like a map that has the ability to improve is going to be more replayable. But a map that's just super easy, it's not going to be super replayable because you can only get so good at it, and you're going to get to a point where it's not very fun anymore. So,
I've never really gotten that with the Reese.
mm,
Like I can if I'm like, do I want to play some Doris? I'm always gonna be like, hey, why not? With it's not the same with the other maps. With the other maps, you know that you're gonna do the exact same thing. On
mm,
the Doris, it's not really that thing. On the Doris, you can always do something different. You can always improve on something. You can always be better than the one you were yesterday on the map. It's it's just the epitome of zombies to me. That map.
yeah, and each game is different on Doris. Like there, not every Doris game is going to be exactly the same. Like on Kino, pretty much every game is going to be the same. The only difference is your dog rounds. Like
Five
how.
is the same as well. Five, I guess you could play 3.0.
Mhm.
It's not very viable, to be honest.
I think five has a lot of variation because like depending on the round and your bow ammo and when the Pentagon Thief round is, it'll change up what strat you run. Like you might run a more risky strat if you have lots of bow ammo, or more risky strat if you have a Pentagon Thief round soon. And you might run a super safe strat if you only have one shot left. So it's not as like you don't have to use your brain as much as something like Doris, not nearly as much, but there's still a lot of variation in it. Although the strats aren't that different. You're still in the same room. You just end up getting more hordes through the traps. But yeah, and
So, to me, the best zombies maps are obviously the Reese. After that, I would probably put 5,
mhm,
because 5, there's you can use risk mitigation and strategy. You can switch strategies on a whim. Like you want to switch, you can do it.
mhm,
On 5, let's say you have you have not down yet, you can play it 3.0 until you only have one QR left. Like there's you can play a fire strategy, a faster strategy, if you can allow yourself to do it.
mhm.
I think that's very interesting. The map is very difficult. It's there's a lot of improvement to do on it. Probably one of the most improvements to do on it with the Reese and Ascension. Um, yeah, it's just a very good map. Like it's just a very good map with a lot of future on it, a lot of potential. So there is in 5. Next on B1, I would put probably Ascension. Um, I don't really know. It's not a very difficult map. It's just more like knowing what to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, it's not very like fundamentally hard. It's just about it's hard to make the right decisions. On Ascension, it doesn't have as much potential as 5 Injuries, but you can definitely improve yourself on that map for sure. And the strategies are not super interesting, but it's what you make of them that makes it interesting. And the trace strat is pretty also it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
favorite part of Ascension.
yeah, it's
I
a good map.
love
Yeah.
trading. Trading on Ascension is it's pretty interesting. A lot of the box locations are really fun to trade at, and like hitting the box while getting the respawners after pulling a trap can be pretty interesting as well. And Pap strat, it can get pretty boring after a while, but you always have trades there to like keep you on your toes because the trades aren't super difficult. Like no, they aren't as hard as Doris, but you still have to pay attention. You still have to try your best to hit the box fast and optimize your trap usage and all that stuff. But,
That's important to be met on that map for sure, but not nearly as much as 5 and there is for
mhm,
me. Yeah. After that, I would probably put Shangri-La because Shangri-La is a map that can, just with Semtex being a thing, the map has a lot of potential. The fact that you can also use the monkeys to make drops,
mhm.
different drops, make the drop you want. I think that's very interesting and one of the best mechanics in zombies actually. It's just super interesting that thing. I really like that about Shangri-La. The strategy, like the M16 strategy that you do regularly, is pretty. It's too easy. Semtex is very hard. Um, so on a hypothetical max potential, Shangri-La is very difficult and interesting. But the way the map is played right now is very boring. But yeah, it has a lot of potential, and to me, that's very valuable. So I'd put it next to Ascension.
Okay. So those are like for good maps in your opinion. What would you consider to be a bad map and why?
A bad map is a map where you can't feel improvement, like Verruct, for
Mm-hmm.
example. Like Dastra, Dastra is maybe viable, like maybe, like there's too much bullshit
Mm-hmm.
on Dastra that can happen. I don't think it's viable.
Points
So
are a big thing I've heard.
yeah, and it's so I can only see people playing uh, Black Ops for now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very boring map. But you can see like the zombies in it. You can see that you're the one being hunted on a map.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have any wonder weapons. Your wonder weapon on that map is the monkey bomb, and I think that's pretty damn interesting actually. But as a competitive standpoint, it's pretty bad for now. Like Black Op is just a bad strategy. It's just a bad strategy. It's
Yeah.
not fun.
If you could run dat strat the whole game, I think it would be more interesting because I mean that's a very difficult strat, but just the fact that you can't run that strat because of points, it makes the map be a lot worse. Like if it wasn't super viable because it was so difficult, I think that would add a lot to the map. I think that would be great, but just you physically can't run the strat because you don't have the points to do it. Um,
You could potentially run the strat, but the thing is that um, to make points, you have to alternate between Black Op and that strat.
mm,
So you make points with Black Op, and once you have the points, you do that strat. So that's pretty interesting.
yeah, that's somewhat interesting. Yeah, but
But is it a bad map?
I don't think it's a
Probably.
bad map, but I don't think it's a good
Uh,
map either.
it's
Uh,
it's a map. It's a map where you don't really see any players like achieving anything on it. To be honest, for now. So
yeah,
is it a bad map? I don't know. Okay. It's I don't really like Verruct, but like a bad map, like objectively,
knocked.
not. That map is trash. Like ugh, uh,
The
like
only thing that determines that map, like after you like use the Thompson, the only thing that determines like your round is trade RNG. Like that's pretty awful that uh, there's nothing else. It's just trade RNG. And
Like, it's hard to believe that this was like the that other maps than Narc like could exist. Like Narc is so shit. That map is trash. Like you can't even believe how much the game has progressed. Just with Veruct.
Mhm. Yeah.
All of a sudden you have perks, you have traps, which is like probably the biggest update ever.
Mhm.
Traps are like huge. Yeah, just from one map DLC, the game instantly became better. Nacht is just like the most bread and butter zombies can get. Like it's kill zombies, survive, and that's it. Like there's nothing else. It's just shit.
Yeah, and box error limiting you is awful, and then having to run Thompson, just like shooting your Thompson for so long. I mean, it's nice because it's like I guess a variation compared to just shooting the T gun and trading, but Furret just he couldn't even run it to 70 anymore like he was supposed to because it was causing some sort of error for him. So he had to only run it to 60. Eh, like even the strat that you're supposed to do that's different that'll help you push the rounds you can't do because that map happens to be broken and mm,
Yeah, it's just a bad map. Like objectively, it's bad. That is a bad map. Uh, Objectively, another bad map on like a competitive standpoint would be Moon. I think
why?
Moon is the easiest a map in BO1 and probably BO2. Like that map is a kid could run the strat.
Yeah.
A kid could do it. Like it's so easy. The only hard thing about it is hearing the drops when you use forward. That's it really. Like that map is trash.
Hmm.
It's not good. Like the strategy is easy. It doesn't look good. Like the map doesn't look good. It's not aesthetically pleasing.
Hmm.
The There's gravity. Like that map is bad for competitive players. Just trash. I don't see myself playing Moon whatsoever. That map is bad. The insta-kill strategy is bad. It's awful map. Like Nocturne Torrentier.
I I haven't played much Moon, so Moons seem interesting to me because I mean I think the horde up isn't it's not super difficult, but the horde up seems kind of interesting, but I can see that like over time after you play a couple hours on that map, it's just the same thing over and over. No difficulty. There's a lot of little annoying things on the map as well. And traveling through that map is atrocious. Like
See.
but yeah,
Dude, when you have to go to the teleporter to pap and shit,
mm,
like you just feel pain.
you have to go
It's so bad to travel.
all the way
Holy
around the
shit.
map.
That map is like I just don't see myself playing it. It's trash.
Yeah, the only reason I would want to play that is because I haven't played it before, and new things are generally interesting, like if you've never played them before. So,
So the wave gun is a pretty cool gun. Not gonna lie.
oh, wave gun is probably one of the coolest wonder weapons.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that you can like detach the parts, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
But yeah, the map is it's a bad map. Objectively, it's a bad map.
Yeah. What about on games that aren't BO1, like BO2, BO3? What maps do you think are good or
Good
bad?
maps. Um, Good maps. Objectively, good maps are for competitive player again is Die Rise and Mob of the Dead.
Okay.
Because Mob of the Dead OnlyFans has so much potential. It could probably push the map to greater heights we've never seen before.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's a decent map. Mob of the Dead. It looks cool too. The Tomahawk is awesome. The Brundagat is awesome. It's just a decent map. Good map, even. Dire Rise, I think the Slicker Fire gun is one of the most interesting guns in zombies history. Like, you could see that the developers listened or watched zombies gameplay before because that gun is literally training the zombies the gun. Like you just run in circles and you shoot one shot and you have to keep the train behind you.
Mm-hmm.
That gun works like that, and you can also camp with it. There's a slide factor, like when you shoot to the ground, you can slide with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a multi-purpose gun. It's very fun. It's one of the like I always imagine myself on another map than that rise with the slick. Like, can you imagine five with the slick?
That would be interesting.
Wouldn't that be sick though?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in the middle room, you have to dodge the zombies while you kill them with the slick. That wouldn't that be sick and shit. But yeah, unfortunately the slick stops working past like 116 or something, 115. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to shoot twice or something. Then it becomes useless. But the also the trample steam strategy is pretty damn interesting as well. Like you have to abuse spawn control. You have to place it right. You have to wait for all the zombies to come by. You have to wait for if there are slow zombies around your trample team, they might destroy it. You might get stuck easily. It's pretty damn interesting, I think, that is.
Yeah, that's funny though because competitively Dire Rise is a good map, but most casual players see Dire Rise as like one of the worst maps of all time. But
See that easily, yeah.
yeah,
It's
cuz
like it's so narrow. It's
it's
so
ugly.
it's ugly as fuck.
Yeah.
Uh, it's um, it's it's a very interesting map. Like almost like it was made for competitive players.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I used to have the opinion that Dire Rise was awful because I used to be a casual player as well, and just like traveling through that map, if you're not like using the trample steam or like doing those cool strafes and stuff, awful. Using the elevators, not fun. You're not looking at much at the map. It's pretty dull. Um, like as a casual, most people ran a train with the sliquifier in that one room with like the I don't know if there's a dragon in there. I think it's called the Buddha room possibly, but most casuals run a train there and use a sliquifier, and then they end up falling off the map because they slip on the sliquifier and
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
it,
Yeah, like clearly that map was not made for beginners.
not at all.
I think it was purposely designed for people that like zombies, like the fundamental aspect of it, right?
Hmm.
Like you have to train, you have to be careful. There's actual strategy involved. There's like camping with the slick. There's speed running with the slick. It's a very interesting map actually. So those are the two best maps of BO2,
Hmm.
in my opinion. Then a objectively bad map. I mean, we all know the answer.
Transit.
Uh, Transit, like that map is dog water. Like I don't know who designed it, but no one likes it. It wasn't a good idea, man. I'm sorry to say that to you, but you're just a bad designer, dude. Like that map is trash, trash in every sense of the word. It looks shit. The jet gun is shit. The strat is shit.
The bus could have been cool. The bus definitely could have been cool if it like if you were able to call it like the tank on transit. I mean the tank on Origins. Like I think the bus could have been implemented better, but just the strat is really boring, you know.
It's the first map where they really try to do something completely different.
Mhm. And the
Com-
survival maps ended up being better. Like the survival maps ended up being better and I
I
mean,
I don't know what the perspective of the designer was. Like it was like I'm gonna make transit as more like an adventure,
mhm.
and the survival maps more for the higher on players. It's very strange.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, like transit really is an experience. I don't know how else to put it, but it is an experience, and it was definitely fun to play with friends back in the day. High rounding though, and yeah, I don't see why anybody would willingly play that map without like a gun to their head or something. But
It's probably the most unfun map ever. Like even Narked is somewhat fun. Like training the zombies behind you, they spawn behind you, and then you kill them with the T gun. I guess.
yeah, I'd rather play Noct than Transit. But
Yeah.
oh, what about would you rather play Transit or Cold War? I'd rather play Transit. As much as I
Uh,
fucking hate Transit, I would rather do that. At least there's skill involved in that map.
like at least Cold War is flashy, dude. I guess.
What?
Like transit is so bad. Like you have to be insane. You know that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy a streamer that I know that I'm friends with. His name's Alfie Wolf. He plays a lot of like BO1 and BO2 zombies. And I think he had some sort of channel points reward where if people had enough channel points, they can make him play a certain map. So somebody picked Transit, and that man had been grinding Transit. He was playing Transit like every day for a month or more,
Wow.
and
Okay.
just uh,
Uh,
he had to take a break from streaming for like a month because of that fucking map.
dude, one day you have to do like a mental health podcast, dude. Mental health podcast. Like these guys are insane. Like how do you do that?
Dude, I gotta get Krups on there, Slayer from all the Doris restarts, Furret from getting like all these world records. Just
Oh my god, that is awful, man. Oh shit. Oh my.
I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine, dude. I couldn't imagine playing at such a high level with so many restarts and stuff like that. I can't do it. I'm perfectly fine with where I'm at, trying to be fast, but I'm okay if I'm not fast, and I'm not going to restart for times or anything like that. So,
There's like a wide variety of like fun and sick maps, dude. But you choose transit, dude.
oh god, yeah.
What's wrong with you, dude? Are you okay? But yeah, transit is just dog water.
Do you think it could have been better if if there was anything that could make Transit a better map, whether it's being on a different game or just having certain changes in the map? Do you have any ideas for it?
uh, like, transit is just trash, man. Like I don't know how to save it.
I think Transit with AATs would be less boring than with the
Ah, it's
jet
the
gun.
same shit, man. It's the same shit.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it would basically be like running Ascension
It,
spawn with
dude,
AATs, but
do you realize that the jet gun is just a worst dead wire?
yeah, and slower. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
I guess
same thing,
so. Yeah, it would still be boring, but at least it would be slightly faster.
I guess.
But no, then that gets into like Cold War type of feelings. Well, I mean, it's faster and easier, so it's better. No, it's not.
Yeah,
So,
you have to suffer a little bit sometimes in life, you know, just to get some type of pleasure, I guess.
mhm,
Zombies is that type of game, you know. You have zombies is very much for like grown people because
mhm,
people have something called delayed gratification
mhm,
that kids don't have. Kids don't have the kids want the sugar, you know. I want the candy. I want the thing now, you know.
mhm.
So zombies is not really a game for like high round zombies is not a game for kids.
Nope.
It's a game for people who want something that work for it. You know, kids are not like that.
Yeah, people who hate themselves enough to play zombies all day.
I mean, it's pretty much work. like
Yeah.
like you go to work and then you have to do more work. Let's go, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I love zombies. I see myself playing it for a long time. I don't see myself quitting zombies, but it definitely can be frustrating.
It's always a game that you're always like, what if I played a bit of zombies? You know,
Mm.
it's always a game like that, and there's not many games like that nowadays. You know, it's like you play it once and you're like, whatever.
Yeah, there's nothing that really there's no other games that I really enjoy. Like a lot of people will tell me, "Oh, you should try streaming other games. Try variety streaming." Well, there's no game that is popping out to me right now. There's nothing that interests me. The only thing I want to play is zombies, so I can't just stream another game. Yeah,
Yeah.
the last game that made me want to come back was probably Pokemon, like Pokemon Soul Silver. Back when I was playing that, I always wanted to play that. It always brought me back, but I haven't had many games like that since, besides zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Pokemon personally, but
No, that's fair. That's understandable. Yeah. I think that'll bring us into our next topic, which is this is a pretty interesting one because I didn't know 100% what Luda wanted to talk about with this. So, this topic is the destruction of zombies. And I feel like that could go a lot of different ways. But yeah, when you approached me about coming on the podcast, I asked you for topic ideas. And one of the first things you said you wanted to discuss was the destruction of zombies. So, why do you believe that zombies has been destroyed?
um, ever since BO3, like BO3, like okay, we need to go back to the basics of this, right?
Mhm.
North was an experiment, right? The map is literally called Prototype, right?
Yeah.
In mind, they wanted a gritty, scary atmosphere with a focus on arcade or arcade style gameplay, right?
Mhm.
They wanted zombies to be scary. They wanted zombies to be engaging. They wanted zombies to be um, something different, something special. But ever since um, that special atmosphere has been lost completely in BO3. You don't feel it anymore. Like you don't feel that scariness. Like, you don't feel that atmosphere. Um, the game is like very eye candy nowadays.
Mm.
Like there's no appeal to me to zombies just to play it.
Yeah, it's very surface
Like
level.
like like,
There's no
like
depth to it.
yeah, like imagine like if you were a kid and you play BO3 for the first time, SOE,
Hmm.
like you will not be scared.
No, not at all.
But North World of War, that shit gave me goosebumps when I was a kid. Like that is that spirit of zombies, you know. Like it doesn't you don't feel that atmosphere. The gameplay is not gratifying anymore. Like when like I've said, you're in BO3, you're the one hunting the zombies. On World of War, you really felt like you were the one being hunted. Like the guns are not powerful. The the wonder weapons are bad. Like on Arc, for fuck's sake, you use a flamethrower. Like they really lost the perspectives of zombies. Like zombies nowadays is just an arcade game mode. That's it.
Yeah.
You just go on. You just go on this, and you're like, oh, it's zombies, right? But you kill zombies. That's it. On World of War, you really feel the thing. You really you have to apply strategies to survive. You know where I'm getting at with this?
Mm-hmm.
Like on World War, you have to survive because you're scared. On BO3 in the Cold War and BO4, uh, you, you don't even survive anymore. You know what I mean? The team clearly had this perspective in World of War and BO1 that you were surviving. You don't have this anymore. Now you just kill stuff mindlessly. In BO1 and World of War, when the zombies are too overwhelming and too strong, you're really scared. You have to apply a certain amount of strategies. You have to apply this and that because you are scared. Now you're not scared anymore. The zombies are the one that are scared. Have you seen BO3? Like you camp in the spot and the zombies are fucking terrified. I would be too. Like you
Mm-hmm.
shoot a bow, you shoot a fucking bow, and the zombies all die instantly. Like the zombies, they're the ones scared. You're not scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That perspective has been completely lost. Like
O- Over time, killing zombies has become less satisfying. Like
yeah,
from what you said, that's what I kind of took from it. Like when you were killing zombies, you had back in World at War, BO1, even BO2, you needed to kill them because you needed to survive. These zombies were coming after you. They wanted you dead. And killing them was satisfying. Getting these rounds and progressing was satisfying. BO3, I think it's still somewhat satisfying, although it's very easy to kill zombies. Um,
I just don't feel it, dude. Like
yeah.
when I kill zombies in World of War, like you see the fucking head pop off, dude. Like the blood comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and like the zombies are super scary. Like they actually look scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like the atmosphere is not the same. It's not as catchy anymore. It's not like they've really lost their way because you can feel it in the maps as well. Like the way the maps are designed. Like in Verruct, like the map is terrifying, right? Like you hear the screaming every fucking time. You hear you know when you hit that one spot and then there's like an explosion, like that shit can
Mm-hmm.
startle you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was really made for you being feel like you are being trapped. Ever since probably BO2 Origins, that has been lost. Like you are the one trapping the zombies with like on the rock. Like they really tried to advance the game to make it more survivable, right? With the traps, the perks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even the risk, they gave you one weapon, but that's not enough. On BO3, you eat a fucking candy ball, and then you get infinite ammo, and then you trap the zombies. The zombies always fucking die in a fucking. It's just is it even fun? Like, do you feel scared? Not at
No.
all. The zombies are the ones scared. You know, they've lost that perspective of zombies. The very first map was to be scared of the zombies. Now, the zombies are scared of you, and that is the destruction of zombies. Because the destruction of zombies, it will go down that path forever. And you will never feel that delayed gratification of going for that one round that you wish for surviving that long, being scared for so much. You know, in Cold War, you know you will get that round.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know it's going to happen. And BO3, same thing. You know it's going to happen. You're not scared anymore. The zombies are scared of you. It's kind of like a psychology thing, but it's like it's you're not really experiencing anything anymore. That is
So,
the destruction of zombies.
okay. So, one of your biggest things in when you're ranking games is like how scary the game is. Like, is that one of the biggest
Fear.
things for like what makes a
Yeah,
game good or bad? Okay.
yeah. The atmosphere, how the game feels, how the game presents itself, how seriously does it take itself. On BO3, for fuck's sake, you eat a gumball.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not the atmosphere is not there. The maps are not scary. You have tentacles for some reason. It's not
So
zombies. It's
it,
not Nazi zombies.
yeah, but like Shadows of Evil, think of Shadows of Evil. Although it's not a scary atmosphere, I don't think that's what it's trying to be. But I think Shadows of Evil has an amazing atmosphere. Just the soundtrack of that map and the round change music and just the environment around you with all those buildings and lights. And although the gameplay is less satisfying because you have the Apothicon that just destroys everything and AATs that kill infinitely, I still think at least the environment and the atmosphere on Shadows of Evil is good. Although it's different. It's definitely different from
That's the
an
thing.
older
That's the
map.
thing.
But
That's the thing. Zombies is trying to be a Hollywood movie.
is that a bad
Like
thing?
for the premise of zombies, you being scared, yes. Like at first you are supposed to be scared of the zombies.
Hmm.
Now you're just in an adventure. Like what?
But is it like being scared of the zombies that's going to keep bringing you back to the game? Or is that more of a first time thing? Because for me, I think being scared
It's
is
deeper than
cool,
that.
but
Like it's deeper than that because you want to overcome the zombies.
mhm.
You want to advance in the rounds. Now, when you advance in the rounds in World War B1 and maybe BO2, like you feel that you have achieved something. You were scared while playing of dying.
Is it more of a pressure kind of like you feel like
Pressure, yeah, pressure, greediness, like the atmosphere, the atmosphere of feeling heavy. You don't have that
yeah,
anymore.
I mean, yeah, on like on BO1 when like my heart is beating when I'm in a situation where I have a red screen or I would let's say I'm about to get a new round PB or a new time PB. My heart is beating. I'm anxious. Like I am scared. I'm nervous. But
Like when you are trapped, when you're
mhm,
trapped by zombies, you're shitting yourself.
when you get that T gun fail and you're red screened and you barely get off that second shot before and you get out of there, like that's that's a feeling that you don't get in the later
Yeah,
games. Like,
exactly. You always feel safe in BO3 and later
yeah,
games.
the only time I felt like that on my Black Ops 3 Ascension game, 63-hour game, the only time I felt like that was on round 254. Like just because I knew I was so close. That strategy was brain dead easy, but my heart was beating, I was sweating, I was shaking, and like I felt that feeling that you could feel on round 49 on Doris when you're about to get the 50 SR. I only felt that once in my Black Ops 3 Ascension game. So I think I understand where you're
All the
coming
games.
from.
Yeah, in the older games, you're always scared.
Hmm.
Like if even let's say like that you're not scared of the zombies in North Territory on World War. Just the fact that you're trying to survive to not die
Hmm.
is scary.
Yeah,
In
and
BO3, you're always safe. Do you realize that?
yeah, you have a shield on a lot of the maps. You have save me weapons a lot of the time, like the Apothicon or the Thunder Gun. You have Gobblegums that can save you, a special weapon sometimes that can save you. There's just a lot of things that will get you out of situations, and it's not as scary. Like what I was talking about earlier when I was watching my friend Nick Zombies run through Dreisendrach after a down. He was perfectly fine and calm, just shooting AATs, using everything at his disposal just to survive. And I'm sitting here like shitting my pants watching him like, "Oh my god, how are you doing this?" and not being scared. Because if I was in BO1 or BO2 doing the same thing trying to get a recovery, I would be scared shitless. But because I wouldn't have all those resources. If I make a bad choice, if I get blocked, if I get a bad spawn, I'm done for. I'm
Yeah,
done.
your resources are limited.
Hmm.
Your resource, the atmosphere is heavy. You feel scared in those games. In the later games, you have all the things in the world to make you feel safe.
Hmm.
Do you realize that?
Yeah.
That was the original vision of the developers back then. They wanted you to feel scared. You barely had the war buys to buy big weapons. You had to hit the mystery box to even have a chance of surviving.
Hmm.
It's not the same anymore. They've lost that vision.
Yeah, it's slowly been going downhill. Um, like I think BO3 was probably the the last solid Treyarch game, and then after
Yeah,
that it went
gameplay, I
downhill.
guess.
Yeah,
And then in fucking Cold War, you spawn in a jeep, and then you spawn, you kill all the zombies. Like
yeah. There's
what?
so many things that will get you out of that. On Cold War, you have Ring of Fire, which will get you out of any situation. You have the Ray K or the ray gun, which can generally get you out of a lot of situations. You have the chopper gunner, or any other one of those things. You have those decoy grenades, which will take the zombies away from you like instantly. You have infinite self revives, which who cares if you die because you're just gonna get back up. If you run out of ammo, you have an ammo box.
Like
Like
dude,
there's
on the
everything.
wrist, when you get stuck with the one dwarf, as a good player, like you're not scared anymore, right? You are a zombie player.
Hmm.
Like you know, at FG42, when you run the strategy,
Yeah, by Speed Cola.
yeah, like you might get stuck. You're scared shitless to go in that spot.
Hmm.
Like you might think, oh my god, there might be like a fucking pack of zombie here, right?
Mm.
Like you are scared while going there.
Yeah, that spot is scary. Like after you dip back through the power trap and you're about to take that cut left, like you could have a bunch of zombies that are blocking you there, and then you turn the other way to run towards the like trench gun trap. Then you have zombies blocking you there, and what are you gonna do? The only thing you can do is a monkey. Like if you're trading, the only thing you have is a monkey. And what if you don't have a monkey? It's
You're scared. Like in Cold War, you're stuck. Oh, I'm stuck. Fucking shoot the one open on the feet, on my feet. Oh, everyone dies. And then I camp there, and then I'm never. I'm always safe.
mm,
It's pathetic, dude. Like you don't have that feeling anymore. The feeling of being scared. You know, as a new player, you play the game, like you are scared of the game.
yeah, not
On the Cold War, you don't even care if you die. You have self revives. They've lost
yeah.
their way at fucking Activision. They don't care about survivability anymore. Survival. That's the destruction of zombies. There's no more survival.
Yeah, there's no survival aspect when you get to Cold War. At least in all the games before that, you had a set amount of downs before your game would end. So, like as much as BO3 could be easy, like if you die, you only have 3 QRs. So, if you take 4 downs, your game is over. And like I mean, there's a cap on that. There's still some sort of survival there. It's much less than the older games, but there's still survival there. And then you get to Cold War, and it's just not only do you have all these resources that will stop you from dying, but if you die, it doesn't even matter because you can recover.
Yeah, you know, in World of War, you don't even have QR. Like
Yeah,
when you're solo, like you're scared shitless.
yeah,
And even in BO1, like you have QR,
mm-hmm,
and when you die, you're scared shitless when you go back up.
mm-hmm,
You're always scared in those games. You're not scared
yeah,
in BO3 and Cold War.
yeah,
You notice that? But no one talks about it.
yeah. It's like it. You do get pretty nervous in the older games like BO1. Like if you're playing BO1 at the world record level, in a lot of maps, you're only going to have one QR. So after you take that first down, you can't die the rest of the game. Like on Ascension, you take one down, you need to get out of there and survive. And then for the rest of your 70-hour game, you can't die. So,
You're always scared.
like, if you think about it, there's
You
so many
make one mistake.
opportunities to
Yeah, you make
die.
one mistake. You make one mistake. You're scared shitless. In in Cold War, you shoot at your feet. Oh, I'm safe now.
Yeah. Oh, I died.
Fucking trash.
Let me go revive myself. We're
Fucking
chilling.
trash. It's like it's barely a video game. You don't feel anything from the game. Like the feeling of zombies is gone. That's the destruction of zombies.
Yeah, so that leads us on to our next topic, which is like disappointment in the new zombies games. Like, do you think that there will ever be a game as good as BO1?
No, impossible. Literally impossible.
Do you think there will ever be a game as good as BO3?
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
Because they might learn from their mistakes in Cold War and go back to like a Bio freestyle and improve on it. Maybe.
But are they going to know they made mistakes though? Because they seem to be satisfying the majority of zombies players at the moment. Not the like niche zombies community that we're in, but the with the population of people that play zombies in Cold War, I assume about 90% at least. 90 to 95% are satisfied with what it is. So I don't think Treyarch's going to want to change. I'm sure they're going to keep on going with the same routine and maybe even make it easier cuz like people are bitching and complaining about raising the health cap. I, like
Uh,
I'm sorry you can't get round 935 anymore, dude, but
yeah, it's really sucks, man. Like Cold War is unsavable, obviously.
mhm
Um, BO3 could be saved, I guess. Like if you remove 255,
mhm
but
I
uh, uh, I don't know. Like I don't see any game being as good as BO1 or BO2. I really don't.
I think I there might be potential to for something to be close to BO1 BO2, but it wouldn't be from Treyarch. I think Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer because IW was solid. Infinite Warfare was a solid game and they've only had a little bit of experience with making zombies. So, I mean, they haven't hit their peak yet, I assume. I assume they have way more room to grow. And Sledgehammer, they made World War II zombies, which was pretty solid as well. The only place they can go
Thing
is
is,
up, but
the thing is that they take the previous installment and improve on it.
mhm,
Like BO1, like is obviously a successor of World of War, and you can feel it.
mhm,
BO2 is a successor of BO1. You can feel it.
mhm,
BO2 is a successor of BO3 is a successor of BO2. You can feel it, right? A
mhm,
bit. Yeah, they always progress in that one direction of always wanting to add more.
mhm.
So always adding new things, and there's gonna come a point where there's too much. And we've already reached that point since BO3. That's why you don't feel scared anymore. You have too much.
Mhm.
You have
So
too much to use.
so to make a game good, maybe they don't need to add more, maybe they just need to change.
They need to look back at the basics.
Like change the basics, do you think like
But the thing is that it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter because BO3 and Cold War are too successful.
yeah,
They won't care. They won't care.
they don't there's no reason for them to care about our part of the community. We're so small compared to the like whole population of COD players. Like the zombies community, the competitive zombies community is probably less than like 1% of the entire COD population and probably less than 5% of the ad like all people that play zombies. So why would they listen to us when we're not the people making them money? The people making them money are the ones that are going to be buying the season pass, battle pass, whatever it's called. The people that are going to be playing casually, people that are playing multiplayer as well, they're making the money. We don't matter, and I don't think there's any reason for them to listen to us. So that's
There's not.
probably why I
But
have little hope.
the, the thing is that if they listen to us for like core gameplay, like let's say like strategy, for example, like
Mm-hmm.
add traps, add meaning to the traps, add meaning to an area being there. You know, you don't feel that in Cold War and BO4. You're just in a place and you're there. Like there's no strategy, right? Like uh, they could maybe listen to us for like strategy, I guess. But like for anything else, if they listen too much to us, they might lose an audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Our opinions on zombies are completely different than the casual community. And stuff that we like is stuff that casuals are going to complain about. And that is not what Treyarch wants. They need to minimize the amount of people that dislike their game because they want to maximize profits and they want to get people to buy their game and spend money on it. And if they make it too difficult, if they make like the skill gap too high, that's going to be hard. But I've been seeing this on Twitter a lot, talking about separate difficulties because I know they did this with BO4. There's the hardcore mode, and then
Yeah,
there's like the regular mode. And I've heard hardcore is actually a pretty interesting game mode on Black
yeah.
Ops 3.
Hardcore actually used to be the normal difficulty at
Hmm.
launch.
Really?
Yeah, because at launch you only had 150 HP.
Hmm.
Like you could not increase the HP.
Uh,
BO4 was actually super hard.
oh yeah,
Like
I played it at launch. It was pretty hard. Yeah.
you were actually kind of scared to die,
Yeah,
like in
and the
BO4.
weapons were super weak as well. Like the weapons were
Yeah,
not strong,
yeah,
and like you didn't have speed cola to help you reload faster.
yeah.
There's no double tap from what I remember. So yeah, it was not knowing much about the game, it was hard for sure when it came out. But I heard, wait, are there insta kill rounds on hardcore? I heard something about that. Um, but
I have no idea.
having hardcore, so less health, and just adding a few changes and having insta kill rounds, I think that would make the game solid, like something that I would want to try. Like even if they did that with Cold War, I mean, it would be hard to do it without traps. I don't know, I don't remember if the maps have any traps, but if they had a map with some traps where they didn't have the ammo boxes, they had three self revives. Um, I think.
9 and classified have traps, I think.
Oh, I was
But
talking about Cold War, what I was just saying there.
oh,
But
War,
like
yes.
if they added a hardcore mode like they
Yeah,
had in BO4 into Cold War and they removed a few simple things like the ammo boxes, limited it to three self revives,
yeah.
um as long as they had traps and like maybe there could be a trade strat, maybe there could be a cool trap strat. If they added insta kill rounds, that could also add a new like variation. It's just the I think the difficulties, adding different difficulties is the way that they could appease like everyone. But I don't know if they'll actually
I
do
think
that.
so. Yeah, probably.
Might be
Yeah.
too much work for them because the profit, I don't think they would make much profit from doing that. Although we would be satisfied. They don't get much out of it, so I don't know if it would be worth it. But,
But yeah, even if they make the game as convenient as possible for like a high rank player, I just don't see it being played over BO1 or BO2.
oh no. Yeah. I mean, they might draw in the people that were good at Cold War but got bored of it.
Yeah,
But the people that are playing BO1 every day, I don't see myself moving to Cold War,
yeah. I
or
don't
even
see
moving to
myself.
BO3. But
Uh, I mean, I guess I could see myself playing BO3 if they remove the round counter
mhm.
to 5-5. But even still, it's not as interesting as BO1 or 2.
Oh, not at all. Very repetitive, and n- not a very like it's a little bit of a brain dead strategy on most maps,
Yeah,
with Pack a Punch. But I, I
pretty
think
unfortunate.
yeah, Shino Numa though. Shino Numa and Verrucht are both two pretty interesting maps, I think, on Black Ops 3. But they're pretty difficult. They're pretty difficult.
It's almost like BO1 hardcore.
Oh yeah, because you can't really maneuver around the zombies in the same way. And like the zombies are kind of fat in BO3. It's easy to get stuck on them and insta down all that stuff. But
It's a very volatile game, BO3.
mhm. Yeah. Have you seen stuff about no AATs? I've seen a lot of people playing no AATs on Black Ops 3, and it seems to be pretty interesting. Definitely not BO1 or BO2 level of interesting, but it definitely adds some more to the game. Have you seen that?
Uh, Yeah, but sadly the maps don't tie in together to that rule.
Hmm. Like, do you want to explain that?
Well, the new maps don't have traps.
Hmm.
The DLC maps don't have traps. Uh, it's not as good as BO1 or 2 with that rule. Like,
Yeah,
it's just a waste of time, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty interesting, right? It changes, right? It
mhm.
changes the core gameplay, but it's just, even like if you remove the AATs, it shows how inferior of a game it is.
Yeah,
It doesn't work well.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, oh, this no AATs looks interesting, but then I was thinking about it. Well, if I'm not gonna play with AATs, why wouldn't I just play on a game that's like has better movement, has better mechanics, that I can actually maneuver around the zombies. I can
Yeah,
trade faster. So, but I mean, it's interesting. It's something new for Black Ops 3 players to try. Like Zombie Dog is playing Megas no AATs, so it is different than BO1 because you can like use the Wonder Weapon a lot, but also when you run out of Wonder Weapon ammo and you don't have a gum to use, you have to run a trap strat or a trade strat or something like that. So it's somewhat interesting, but
it's actually pretty cool,
mhm.
I guess.
Yeah, like
I can just play BO1.
yeah, like it's cool, I would watch it, but I don't see myself playing it over BO1.
Yeah,
I
definitely not.
yeah. So, in this disappointment in new zombies game topic, I feel like a lot of BO1 players, because BO1 is so good, they will reject other games without even trying them. I'm curious. I wonder if a lot of BO1 players would be able to enjoy some of the newer games if they tried it. Like, I know Furret played World War II, Final Reich for a while. I know some BO1 players have played Cold War. It's probably not the best example of a game, but
The thing
um,
is that uh, once you have like a taste of strategy and depth to the game, uh, if you give the game a chance, like a newer game a chance, you'll just hate it because there's no depth.
mhm.
You just see it, like you just look at a map, what tools are available to you, and then you see no traps. And you're like, dude, like it's just it's so easy to put two traps in like a map,
Mhm.
but they don't do it. Like why? Like you can just put like fucking electric traps somewhere, and
Yeah.
it might work for higher on players. It's so easy, but they don't care. Like you don't see the intelligence of the map design anymore.
Yeah, even
You,
on
you look at
BO3, like
yeah
even on BO3, like if you're running Dreisendrach, you're running in the church, you're using the electric cherry strat where you use Deadwire, Turned, and the Ragnaroks. Whenever you go buy ammo or go to hit the gun machine on your way back, you hit the trap at the church. Just having traps on the map can speed up the map a little bit. You can use it for the strat. It's just traps in general add so much and gives the game a
it's
lot
so
more
simple.
potential.
It's so simple, but it's
Mm-hmm.
so effective. It changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like even one trap can change the entire map. Like
Yeah.
can you um like you look at five,
Mm-hmm.
like the entire bottom floor of the map is useless, right?
Yeah.
But you look at the top, just those two
This,
traps makes the map actually high run viable.
mm-hmm. And
You
it makes
realize
it a really good map.
you realize the genius of that? Like those two traps, like those are the two most well placed traps in the zombies history.
Better than Doris placement. I think Doris placement is
Equal.
pretty
It's
good
equal. It's equal, I think.
because
But
like Doris, you can use just the traps for a strategy. You can use traps in combination with WAF for a strategy, and you can use the traps while hitting the box for the WAF again. So I think that placement is better because of all the things you can do with it. But
uh,
five, if you're
y-
just talking about traps, like just for a trap strat, yeah, five's got to have the best placement for sure.
yeah, I guess so. But like you can just see like the dumb beat down of zombies, dude. You can see it. Like in what world would a casual use those traps on 5-4?
They wouldn't. They would probably train at the that bottom area.
Yeah, is literally made for good players.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that? Like the developers gave in thought to those players, and like most people like five,
Mm-hmm.
they go in the middle, they train, they shoot the ray gun, but the real thing is up there. You have the traps. Like once you learn how to use them, it's the best strategy. You
Yeah.
can see the skill ceiling on it.
Yeah.
Like in,
It's.
in 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 the middle, you have the scrubs, and then you have the good players up there.
Yeah, dude, five is a five is a good map. I like how you said it earlier, but on a whim you can change your strategy. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just decide that you want to run a different strategy because all the strategies use the same traps. It's just you run in different places, you stall at different times, you try to get a certain amount of hordes to the trap, and yeah, that makes five really unique. It definitely makes five unique.
Do you think that it's a coincidence that when you use the elevator, the spawns change up top?
Mm-hmm.
Do,
Do I
do you
think?
think that's a coincidence? Do you really think that's a coincidence?
Yeah, I don't
I don't think so.
really. You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
So you think Treyarch intended to like have players set windows? You think they knew that people were gonna try to get the zombie spawns out of certain places?
Maybe, yeah. I think it's highly probable. Like you could change any windows in the map. Those are the ones. That's crazy. Where the traps are too. That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. That's too much coincidence.
I mean, if they did choose to do that on purpose, Treyarch is pretty fucking smart. But
Who was the original creator of zombies? Mike is Zawinski, whatever it's called. His name is
there's
Zelinsky. Zelinsky.
Jimmy Zelinsky, and then Dave. No, 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 not Vonderhaar. There, I forgot what the other guy's name was. Jason Blundell. Jason Blundell.
No, yeah.
Everybody
I,
loves that guy.
have you noticed that? When did Jimmy Zelinsky leave office? Was it
I don't know
BO3?
if he left. I know Jason Blundell left after. I think after BO4, either before or after BO4, Jason Blundell left. I don't know about Zelensky. He was the guy who made like Transit and Buried and stuff. So he's not as
Oh,
good as Blundell, but
is he? Like who made the original maps?
ooh.
Like Narc, Verruct, and
Let me look it up.
yeah, we have to know because five is too much of a coincidence.
Um, I
Like
don't.
those two traps are genius, dude. Who put them there?
Let's see. Who created five zombies Black Ops 1? Well, I don't know. Like I'm just gonna control F and see if I find the name like Zelensky. No, not Jimmy. What about Jason? No. I can't see any of this on here. I don't know, man. I don't know who created it, but whoever did is smart as fuck and had a vision for the future.
Exactly. Like those two traps change everything for that map.
Hmm.
Like imagine if there were no traps, you just fucking do Reagan.
Yeah, it'd be like no power five because no power five they just
Yeah.
use the ray gun and stuff and trade. But
Even when you look at the fire trap,
mhm.
it's so convenient as well.
Yeah, fire traps in a good place. I think Kino trap placement's pretty good.
Yeah, actually,
N
they are actually.
like fire trap and the stairs trap, the one that leads from like spawn to the theater. I think that's a pretty good trap placement. It's not as good as five because it's not as fast to play like double trap compared to using like five strategies, but it is definitely a good placement and pretty convenient because you
Yeah,
can get
like
all the zombies to spawn on the spawn side of the trap if you stand in the fire trap room, and then you get all the zombies to spawn on the other side if you stand like at the stage. So that's pretty interesting.
all the way back to like you can see the improvement in zombies, right?
Hmm.
Like Unverupt is just a scary map, like with you try to survive. That's the idea. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Unverupt, they added traps for strategy.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Literally strategy and more survivability. Then you have Shino. Then they realized that spawn control was important.
Yeah, the spawns
So
are the spawns are the best in World at War on Shinonuma, from what I've heard.
yeah, no, Narc and Shino and Verruct, there's no spawn control.
Yeah, they just spawn everywhere on the map.
Yeah, on everywhere on the map.
And same thing on
And
Darius. Darius is pretty awful with spawns, I've heard.
there is spawn control on the wrist as well. Like they realized that spawn control was a thing to add for more strategy and for the game to be more fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was like you can see the evolution. On BO1, traps are um, traps have more meaning. You can look at Kino and Five
Mm-hmm.
and Ascension. Fucking yeah, you can just look at the game and the game progressing, but um, yeah, ever since BO2, they kind of lost their way a bit. Like all you do is like use one weapon and you train or whatever.
Yeah, BO2 is based
It's
off
pretty.
buildables and stuff. Like
Yeah,
BO2, yeah. I mean, there's still some trap strats. I'd say the BO2 trap strats, or at least Mob of the Dead, is like cafeteria Mob of the Dead is definitely more boring than BO1 trap strats. OnlyFans is super interesting, but we don't know how viable it is because Chris G spawned and stuff. But yeah, I guess over time, like zombies really has just gone downhill, and
yeah.
at
It's
least
less about
Treyarch
strategy. It's more
zombies.
about like shooting zombies. Pew pew pew.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that will bring us into our final topic, which is actually a pretty interesting topic. It is the future of zombies because in this podcast, we've talked about a lot of the past. A lot of us play the old games like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. They were amazing. Over time, the games have gotten worse and worse. People have become, or at least in the zombies community, have become less interested. We've definitely seen a lot of people leave the community, but what is going to happen in the future of zombies? How do you think we can keep people in this community, Luda?
That depends on what type of attraction you want. If you want casuals to enjoy the game, have a quick fun time, then you have to continue in the Cold War way, unfortunately. Uh, but uh, the way I want a new game to be developed is to have the best of both worlds. Like BO2 was a perfect both. It was obviously meant for casuals with Origins, Mob. The maps were cool, Easter eggs, cool guns, awesome trap design, acid trap and stuff for
Mm-hmm.
the Haram players. Um, the Tomahawk meant for the Haram players as well. Uh, you know, I want a game that favorizes all people.
Okay. So a
Uh,
game that caters to the casuals and the competitive players and the
yeah,
Easter eggers and speedrunners and everyone.
yeah, like a game that you can see that you can improve on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a game like Cold War. You do this and it's over. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I want a mix of BO1 and BO2 with a bit of Cold War in it
Okay.
to appease to the casual. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. For me, the way I look at the future, I'm not super hopeful for a new good game, but I think it's important to try to maintain the people we have in the zombies community and try to get more. Like not necessarily with a new game, so with Black Ops 1 because there's so much potential with Black Ops 1. I think we can still keep people in the BO1 community and try to bring in more. And I'm wondering, how do we keep people from leaving the BO1 community or BO2 or even BO3? How do we keep them interested?
Um, well, that depends on the person. Like obviously, if you have a short attention span, you're just gonna want to do the Easter egg, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want interesting Easter eggs for the YouTubers, for people to be attracted to the game because that looks fucking dope, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Easter egg looks dope. Then if there's a lot of views on YouTube, then more people will naturally come in, right?
Okay.
And then you need a part of the game that's actually interesting. Learn from B1 and BO2. Learn from your learn from the basics. People that actually given thought to playing the game for a very long time, and appease at the same time people who are just there for the cool shit, the cool stuff, Easter eggs, weapons, uh, maps looking cool, uh, you know, listening to people with updates, like feeling that you have some sort of communication, some sort of like feeling always wanting to come back to the game.
Mm-hmm.
We don't feel that anymore.
Yeah.
Cold War has killed it, and BO4.
Yeah, I think to keep people in the community, it's up to us. It's really up to us. The content creators, the big ones, most likely aren't going to go back to the old games as much, but I think we need to keep the competition going. Like if we can keep learning about the maps and getting new world records, having people constantly push these records, I think that's something that's interesting for anybody to watch. Somebody that's only seen casual zombies watching Furret get these insane world records, and like people seeing these big numbers on the screen for rounds, people seeing 70-hour plus games, like that's interesting. And if we keep competing,
Yeah.
I think that'll keep people interested. And if we're able to show casuals how good this game is, how competitive it is, I think that's how we can get it to grow. And like my podcast, the SlowBroz podcast, that was one of my goals. I wanted to bridge the gap between casuals and competitive players. I want casuals to be able to listen to this podcast, learn stuff about competitive zombies, and enjoy it. I want competitive players to be able to watch this, enjoy the content, maybe come on and talk with me about certain topics. And um, I think us smaller creators, zombies players, can do that. Another example is like an essay style zombies video, like Krups. Krups did a video that was like the greatest speedrunners you've never heard of, and he made that video where casuals could understand it and be interested and want to see more. But he also made it so all of us in the community loved the video. It was an amazing video. And I feel like it
Yeah.
represented us really well. And stuff like that, us in this community need to make content that can appeal to both sides so we can draw in more people. And it's exponential. As more people come in, more people will share it, and then it'll grow and grow and grow.
I honestly think that was one of the best things that's ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like an SR style video that's easy to understand, easy to follow, is easy to get behind,
Mm-hmm.
and then give you a sense of why you should play this game, of why it's interesting. It gives you, even if you don't play the game, you will know about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's super important and positive in all aspects.
Yeah.
If that happens more, like let's say Mr. T Lexify or anyone else does a style video like this,
Mm-hmm.
then it will attract so many players.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if Mr. T Lexify or Noah J made a video style essay that promotes like BO1 or BO2. Can you imagine the community after that?
Well,
It will be insane.
Mr. T Lexify, I'm pretty sure he reacted to Krups's video on stream. And Like if us small zombies players can create a video like that, and then a bigger content creator like Lex or Noah watch that and show it to their community or promote it,
Yeah,
like that's a huge way of growing. And I'm sure hundreds or thousands of people got their eyes on the competitive community because Lex literally just showed a video. Like all he did was show a video that one of us made. And I'm sure we got at least a couple new people that followed like Furret, Slayer, Krups, and are in the community and learning more. And we just need to keep pumping out content.
yeah,
We
exactly. It's so important. Like if that needs to happen more. Like that is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing to
Mhm.
happen right now. Like that needs to happen more. I might even start myself.
You should. You should. We need as much content as possible. We can't be perfectionists about it. Like we're all knowledgeable and we learn best by doing. So if we put out a video and it's not amazing, we're going to learn for the next one and the next one. And we keep putting out some more content, and obviously we're all going to criticize each other, help each other out, and eventually we can all be making super good content that's enjoyable for casuals and competitive players and grow the community.
Can you imagine like a video essay playlist
Oh, dude.
where it redirects you to each map.
Hmm.
It makes you learn each map with a video essay. How sick would that be, dude?
That would be
How many players
amazing.
will be interested in it? And then you put like the playlist in Zombie World Records so people can watch it.
Hmm.
That's so valuable.
Yeah. I've always thought about making a video like that. It's a lot of work, so I haven't actually done it, but
Yeah.
I think I could use my content creation skills plus knowledge and connections I have in the community to make one of those. And I would definitely want to. I would definitely want to.
It's not bad. Like it's very hard to make a video quality on the level of crops
Hmm.
because crops were edited this for a very long time.
Hmm.
But you could very well make a simple video,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, actually, Knifing King, he's a guy who watches a lot in the zombies community. He did a video on the Ascension world record. So, this was his first video, so there's definitely stuff that could be improved, but he basically went over Ascension, did like a brief overview, and then he interviewed Vex, he interviewed Furret, and Zomba, and he asked them all different questions. And the video was pretty solid overall. It didn't have the same potential as Krups's video to attract casuals, I don't think, but it was entertaining from the competitive side. So I think if he kept working on those videos and came out with them with different maps, he could definitely improve and make some good content that a lot of people could enjoy. And I just want to see more people doing that because that's how we're going to improve.
Yeah, like it's probably the most important thing right now to happen. Like, because zombies, like the new players are all interested in Cold War, and then if they switch over to BO1, they'll be like, "What the fuck is this?" Nah, like for real, they'll be like, "What is this game? It's
Yeah.
not the same game
We need to
whatsoever."
explain it to them. We need to have something that's comprehensible for them
Yeah, yeah.
or
Because like 99.9% of the players are on Cold War right now.
mhm,
Like they won't be interested in all the games unless there is a video representing the value of the older games, right?
mhm.
It's super important.
Yeah, and also a pretty big thing is once we get these people to start watching people in the community, I would say it's super important to be willing to welcome them and teach them and answer their questions. Like we can't be hostile toward them. We can't treat them like shit because they're casuals and because they don't know anything. Like we got to be willing to answer their questions. We got to be willing to like teach them if they ask us stuff. Or else nobody's gonna come into the community and we
You
can't
should
grow.
have no ego.
Hmm.
You should have no ego. Like it's super toxic to judge someone because they did that, or that they knew, or that they're not good. Like
Hmm.
that is non-productive. That is absolute rubbish to like the toxicity I've seen recently is pathetic. It's
Yeah.
absolutely pathetic. Like I've seen what's this guy like Curve. Um, he's made comments about Mimoon and stuff. Like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah, that's not
Like,
good.
you're not helping anyone.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be like I enjoy banter, alright. Like
Mhm.
I enjoy like shitting on people, I guess. But like it's not okay when you go too far
Mhm.
or you go out of reach. Like if you know the person, it's fine.
Yeah. That's
But
just friendly banter.
if you don't know the guy and you make assumptions and shitty comments for no reason, then there's toxic beyond belief, and people are not going to be attracted to it. Like
Mhm.
I've seen tweets saying, "I don't play zombies as much anymore because I get judged for it." That is pathetic.
Yeah, I used to experience that a lot. Back when I was less experienced in the community, like I used to get shit on all the time, and it was like it was annoying. I didn't like it, but I got used to it, and I was able to just rub it off and be like whatever. But not everybody is able to do that, and people shouldn't have to do that in the first place. It's if somebody wants to play the game, they should be able to learn without getting shit on the whole time. There's a difference between making fun of your friends, which my mods do. All my mods shit on me the whole time, but it's just friendly banter. They can shit on me all they want. But when like somebody in my chat is trying to shit on somebody else they don't know in my chat, no, that's not okay. I don't want to be scaring people off because there's assholes in my chat. If somebody makes fun of somebody for asking me a stupid question, I don't like that. I want to answer their question as stupid as it may be. They're just trying to learn, and you can't blame somebody for not knowing something, especially if they're trying their best to learn.
Yeah, it's absolutely a problem right now. I think because I remember in 2016 when I first came into the Iron community. At first, I was made fun of very pretty badly. I won't name any names, but I was made fun of, and I almost wanted to quit the game.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, because I wanted like a vengeance towards them, I guess I kind of kind of became toxic as well
Mm,
because toxicity attracts toxicity. Like
yeah.
it's that simple. Like you don't need to be an asshole to someone you don't know personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go in a Twitch chat and you're part of the community and you talk shit to them, like that is I just don't know what kind of person you are, but you're not a very good person. That's for sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people have complained about the toxicity, but the solution is very simple actually. For me, all I had to do is from the start of me being a streamer, I've always tried to be like positive, not super negative, not shitting on people, and trying to be welcoming. And if you set an example as a streamer and you like let your chat know like
Yeah,
that it's good to be nice and you show them by being nice to people, then naturally over time your whole chat is going to be shaped into that, and you're not going
yeah,
to have that toxicity there. And if there is toxicity, they're going to be the ones looking like an idiot because everybody else is just chilling having a good time, and then there's this one guy that's being an asshole. It's like, what the hell? So it, toxicity can't just be gone as a whole. It starts with individual people just promoting good stuff, being good people on the internet. And if a streamer is good to their community and other people's communities, then most likely people that enjoy their streams are going to do the same thing. And if every streamer did that, then you wouldn't have to deal with all those issues. Obviously, there would still be the assholes. There's going to be assholes everywhere. But
yeah. But those guys, they if everyone agrees, then we can just like exile them, like just go away, and no one cares about you.
yeah, I mean, they're going to look
We're
like the
gonna
weird
be we're
ones.
gonna be toxic to the toxic pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Just fuck you, go away. Do it.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, they can stay if they want, I guess. But don't talk to me. Fuck you.
yeah, but Yeah, there's definitely a possibility for growth in the community. I think
Yeah, definitely,
I
definitely.
I think the BO1 has good potential. I also think BO3 has good potential because it's very like casuals like BO3 already. So it's more likely for them to like competitive BO3 like but
It's easier to get into for sure. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, but I don't know. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Um, yeah, I think it's gonna be a very long grind to make the community bigger,
Mhm.
unless we really work like super hard with the video essays and stuff like that. Like to put exposure to a video game is one thing. For people to be interested in it, it's even harder.
Mhm.
So that needs to happen. Like that needs to happen because nobody is gonna be like, "Oh, what's this random game? Oh, it's called Call of Duty Black Ops. I'm gonna play this game and play zombies only." You know?
Mhm.
No, like the chances are too small. Like
Yeah.
the game is old by that point. You need to use social media, get people interested in the game, get people to watch the video essays, get people to have a reason to play the game, show how competitive it is. You know. So video essays are number one priority right now.
Okay.
Not even close.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think video essays and pretty much any kind of YouTube content is pretty important. If other people wanted to do podcasts in the community, I would be all for it. I think that's great. Um, that's going to be more for people that are already slightly in the community. But like if Krups made a video essay and brought in like 100 people into the community, maybe 20 of those people would watch the Slow Bros podcast. And maybe 5 or 10 of those people would be more interested in zombies because they watched that. And the more content we have on YouTube, the more possibility we have to draw people into our community and let them like the game.
Everything starts with a small audience.
Mm-hmm.
Like 10 people could say to their friends with by mouth to ear, "Yo, did you hear about that game?" If they get interested, there's another person. Multiply that times 10, potentially times 100,
Mm-hmm.
potentially times 1,000. So we really don't know about the future of zombies, but it can potentially be huge as much as it can die.
Yeah.
So if you give up, obviously it's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like if you don't keep pushing content into the algorithm of YouTube and Twitch, obviously this game's gonna die. So if I had one message, is that don't give up, pretty much, because the game can always grow, and it can potentially be huge, because the game is super interesting. Like I believe anyone that looks at the game can potentially be interested because it legitimately is one of the best side game modes of all time, if not the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just there's so much potential for growth. We just need to put in the work and be patient because it'll take time, but with time it will come. We will be able to grow. We just can't give up in the meantime. We can't treat each other like shit in the community or else nobody's going to want to stay anyway. So, yeah, but I think that's going to
Yeah, that was my final message, I guess. Don't give up.
don't give up, man. Thank you for coming on the podcast today, Luda. It was a
Thank you
super
for
good
having me.
conversation, man.
I think that podcast was amazing.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, man. I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning into the podcast today. You guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Go check out Luda. His links are all going to be in the description. His Twitch, his Twitter, YouTube if he has one. But all his links are going to be in the description. Make sure to go check him out. Go hang out with him. Help this community grow. But thank you everybody once again.
Thank you
And
for watching, everyone.
for sure. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.